It's so strange not having anybody on the other side of the table. I feel like we're waiting on somebody, right?
Yeah, right.
We're not. No.
We're the couple at the restaurant that sits on the same side of the booth.
It's gonna get weird.
Always weirding me out.
All right, we gotta go.
In my old Kentucky home. Kentucky.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Kentucky Commons Radio Hour. We are at the future site and home of Awry Brewing here in the Highlands neighborhood of Louisville, Kentucky. I am Michael Moeller, joined by David Satterley, John Ronayne,
hello,
and the entire Awry team, Tom Bartle, Alex Vogt, Tyler Martin. Guys, thanks for inviting us to your home today.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
This is going to be like I think the most amount of guests that we've ever had. We're also like on a remote. I will say we have a bigger table than usual. If you want to go ahead and just like see what we're working with here and get a little sneak peek of Awry Brewing, make sure you're checking out the YouTube page that we have. Subscribe, rate, listen, share, do all those things. Thanks for you folks listening on Spotify as well, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you. Always be sure to rate and share though, because we like doing this and we like to have our guests on, and we just like to help spread the gospel of good beer and beverage and all things like that. So
I'd like to just say that we're glad to have you guys. Appreciate you guys coming and interviewing us and doing the podcast with us before we're open.
Yeah, it's a great way, and that's one of the fun things about what we've gotten to do with this entire Ale Trail and now the Kentucky Commons Podcast Project is not only do we get to hang out with you guys first, but it gives everybody out there an opportunity to kind of get to know what you guys are all about. That's one of my favorite things about going to any brewery. It's the beer obviously is great, but getting to know the people behind it, and I already know these guys a bit and what they've done, but just getting to hear the story of kind of how you all came to be where you are and what people can expect. Very exciting. So thank you as well.
So we're going to start the show the same way we always start the show, with a beverage to share. These specific beverages, and we actually have quite a few of them, so we can peruse which specific styles that we want to share.
It's in a space case?
It's in a space case. They sent us all these beverages in a lunchbox. It's a beautiful lunchbox, like very galaxy themed and whatnot. Thanks to our friends at March 1st Brewing, they started a new line of ASTRA hard seltzer, based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. David, why don't you just run through the flavors that we have, and then we'll start passing them down. Should any of the guys here at Awry wish to share?
I was a hop, skip, and a jump away from from Cincinnati today. So this is cool. I guess in these guys' backyard. What it looks like we've got here is, along with the space theme, we've got a lot of little flowy graphics, looking very, very galaxy forward. But we have Simply Tart hard seltzer. We have Birch Beer hard seltzer, which seems like a misnomer. And we also have Red Cream Soda hard seltzer. If this tastes like Big Red, I'm endorsing the shit out of it. And there's more.
Oh, there's more.
Pink lemonade.
Damn, Tom, you're getting after it.
Yeah, I know.
And these are colored.
Hey, it's here to be tasted.
Oh,
Pour it in a glass.
Crush.
Let's try it.
Oh my God.
And blast.
look at that color out of the. Is that the tart?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yes.
that is blue Gatorade blue.
I was expecting clear. All right.
All right.
And
Oh, there's one more.
Yeah.
Sorry, Crush, and I don't know what that means, but it's orange. So let's hope. So these seem awful
These are
inspired.
like soda themed.
I think so. And then Blast, I assume is like Mountain Dew. Baja Blast, maybe. Crush. They gave us some nice koozies and stickers too. So thank you, March 1st and ASTRA.
These are holographic.
Yeah.
This is like a special Pokemon card.
Put it up
I
on the
love
poll.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just, I don't know, which one should I open here out of all the things that we just...
Baja to me
Yeah.
is like the move, because that's like the most famous of the Taco Bell concoctions, aside from Crunch
Yeah, the Baja
Wraps.
Blast.
Isn't that a Taco Bell like exclusive?
It might be.
It is.
It might be.
I did not read one that said Baja Blast. It just says
Well,
Blast.
it's like a pie called Derby.
Oh.
You kind of have to watch your.
So-
'cause like, as
yeah.
you say, you do Baja Blast, you're gonna get the taco man on your You're gonna be running for the
No,
board.
they're locals.
Yeah,
It's
that's
yum.
true.
Yeah.
That's yum.
That's the best
It's
one.
all love.
Yeah. So Blast is just like clear and interesting looking compared to the tart blue. So I don't know. There's a lot of flavors here. Just, thank you, March 1st, for sharing these with us. Interested to see just in general what you guys think of this trend and what we have here today.
So March 1st is my birthday, so guess I'm gonna have to go do something with these guys.
And we did plan on
that
having
smells
actually a non-alcoholic seltzer on our tap.
Yeah, these are hard seltzers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So hold on. You asked about like the trend of seltzer.
Yeah, just like, what do y'all think about that as we're kind of enjoying this? Because I mean, obviously, this is March 1st Brewing, and then they kind of just launched a sister brand, it seems. So it seems like they are following that trend.
When I started brewing, cider had just become had just become legal for breweries to make cider, and I remember being like 2 weeks in, and there was like talk like we got to make cider, and I panicked. I was like, man, I just got a job in a brewery. I just want to make beer, and I kind of watched cider like rise, find its spot, and it never went away. Honestly, I feel like there might be a cider resurgence around the corner, but of not woodchuck and not the stuff we saw in like the 2013. I feel like seltzer's kind of doing the same thing. Even in the brewery when seltzer started coming out, the first one I saw was at MIA in Miami, and I was like, oh man, that's wild. That's insane. The guy was like, yeah, we saw a lot of it. Mix it with some rum. I was like, on the beach in Miami. I get it. And then I feel like I turned around and seltzer was everywhere. I will say, I don't hate this. Most seltzers I really don't like. I feel like they're just gross.
I appreciate their diversity of flavors.
Yeah.
Like,
They have got a lot of
I've
flavors
seen.
here.
Feels like they're leaning it. They know what they're doing.
Nostalgia
Like,
flavors.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They all look like Tron.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
And they send it to us in a
And I'm here for it. But
Yeah.
So I appreciate your all's quick thoughts on seltzer there. And the voice that you just heard, by the way, was Alex Vogt. Why don't you all just kind of introduce yourself briefly so that way we can connect the voices with the names, and then also just know kind of about your background in beer and how you got here.
All right. I'm Alex Vogt. Actually, tomorrow is my 10-year anniversary of professionally brewing in Louisville on Star Wars Day. So
Hell yeah.
I'm super excited about that.
That means you're tenured, I think.
Yeah, officially. Actually, there was the old production manager at Against the Grain. We used to have a joke of like brewers' years are kind of like dog years. Like every brewer year is 3 normal years. So by all intents and purposes, I'm a 30-year, senior veteran brewer. Anyways, I started my career at BBC. I was there for 3 years on Shelbyville Road. Not too long after Sam and Jerry and Adam went to go start Against the Grain, shit went awry at BBC. I found myself at Against the Grain. I've been there for 7 years now, and Friday is actually my last day. So I'm sure I will no longer be employed at Against the Grain by the time this comes out. Kind of scary, but it's also super, super exciting.
Hell yeah.
I could go on and on about beer and what I did, but this isn't my podcast. It is our podcast.
True. All right. Well, I'm Tyler Martin. I'm currently the head brewer at Against the Grain. And I originally started making wine roughly, I think 11 years ago. I started making wine in Indiana and worked in Kentucky for a little while, and was actually going to stay making wine for an extremely long time. And one day he called me and said that if I wanted a job at Against the Grain, I could have it. And I took a pay cut to go down there, and that was 5 years ago, almost 6 now. And so my last day will be May 19th. I'll get closer. Oh, God, that's too much.
You don't have to be that.
Anyways, yeah, so, that's my background right now. Tom?
Well, I'm Tom Bartle. I'm really the outsider looking in. I come from a varied background of line of work. My main experiences around beer were really around when I was in the Marine Corps and traveling all over the world. And fortunately got to taste a lot of beers from all over the place, and it really gave me a flavor for beers and what I liked. So ever since then, I've kind of been interested in beer and wanted to start my own business at some point. And when I met Alex and then Tyler shortly thereafter, and these guys wanted to start a brewery, I knew that was something I was very interested in. And, when you start a business, you want to start something you got a passion for. So beer was a passion of mine. So that's how we kind of came about. And there's a little bit of a story between how Alex and all of us met. So we'll share that a little bit later. But
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
I know there's a quick snippet out there, but that's heavily edited, and it is a good story. So if you all want to feedback on that.
Yeah, so we Alex and I had met through a mutual friend briefly one time, and then I was coming back from a quarterly Kentucky Guild of Brewers meeting that I'd been involved with them since 2016, and visiting all the Kentucky brewers around the state and do a little business with various ones. But I came home one night, and I usually stop and grab a bite to eat before I go home, and I stopped in at O'Shea's in Jeffersonville. And Alex was sitting there. I think he was having a little bit of a rough day maybe, and we just started up a conversation. We had met before and got to talking, and I'm like, man, I really would like to start my own business and at some point. I really like beer. And he's like, well, I've got a partner. We've already got a brewery started kind of thing. And one thing led to another, and we got to talking, and we formed our partnership a couple years later after that. And it's been almost 6-7 years ago now, I think, unbelievably. Yeah. And we've been working to try to get something open since then, really.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we started.
Yeah. I all I remember from that day is having a bad day. I remember because I was like, I used to work at that O'Shea's, and it's so close to the house. I don't want to go there. Sorry, but but they always have Two Hearted, and I know it'll be fine. So went in always with the hope of like maybe I'll get a free PBR. I don't think it's ever happened, but yeah. And then that's what I just remember. I think I was bitching about beer. I don't even remember what I'm sure I was mad about something that was perfectly fine. And
you had to make cider that day.
No, I've actually never had to make cider.
Okay.
I got really close to the seltzer idea. Got really close, and I was like, we can't do this well. So, and we didn't. So I'm happy. But yeah, I guess that's how Tom and I met. T-Mart and I actually go way back. We used to work at Rockies on the River. So we're all from Indiana. We're all Jeffersonville locals. And
just right across the bridge.
Yeah, just right across the bridge. But yeah, T-Mart and I worked at Rockies Italian Grill. And I don't even really remember. I went away to college and discovered craft beer. Was like, oh, I'm gonna make craft beer because that's way cheaper than buying it, which it's not. Well, if you're me and like everything I brewed sucked. Rockies at the time decided they were going to put in 32 draft lines. T-Mart turned 21 in that, got really into beer, and I was knocking around this idea of like, oh, I want to open a brewery. Like I'm 3 years into an art degree at IU, and I'm like, nah, I should do something else, which is what you should do 3 years into a degree. I remember T-Mart came up to Bloomington. We brewed together. My dog gnawed on his hand for like 2 hours.
Actually, I was 20 at the time. So, yeah, I wasn't even able to drink. You kept asking me, like, let's go to this place. Let's go to Upland. And I couldn't. And so I came up to brew with you. And that was the whole excitement. Because I was like, yeah, we're going to make and drink beer. And you're like, no. We're going to make it.
But yeah.
You just can't drink it yet.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so T-Mart and I have been partners for a long time. We were talking with Tom, I don't know, earlier this week. I feel like we've probably gone through 19 different, quote unquote partners at one point or another. I remember I used to live in Shively, and that's like where we started really brewing together. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting at a table with, it was the two of us, maybe 4 other people, 5-6 other people on a conference call. We're homebrewing in a garage on like a kegel set on a Sabco. And just had like, it was like, all right, we got to start 30 barrel brew house minimum. Can't do anything under that. All right, like Mike, you take care of sales and distribution. Pat, you're going to handle the pub and restaurant. Obviously, I'm going to be the brewer. T-Mart, you're my assistant with that. Like we all had roles. We had no business plan, no money, anything at all.
Just dreams.
Yeah.
Just dreams.
And then as things got more serious, people dropped out. We had more serious partners.
It's really progressive that you all have so many partners.
Yeah.
Because normally it's like
I know
2, maybe 3. But you guys were like everyone.
it's
Come on.
yeah.
It was a collective. We
Yeah.
just wanted everybody to be a part of it. And it also seemed like everybody else had money, and even though we didn't. So we just kept going with that idea
There's
of like,
also
these
a
people are going to
bunch
fund this.
A bunch of people lie about the money they have
Oh,
or that
yeah.
they're willing to give you. We had T-Mart and I had one point that there was a guy who met with us and was super gung ho, like, yeah, I want to help you open this brewery. I'll handle the kitchen. This will be awesome. He's like, so what are you thinking for domestics? I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. He's like, you have to do that.
I'm making it here. It's a fucking domestic.
Yeah.
No, we're not. He was like, you can't, that will not work. I was like, that's a non-starter, man. So he supposedly was like, the next day was supposed to give us $100,000 and then we never heard from him again.
Hell no.
Until actually we kind of half-ass ran into him at a ATG event at Parlor. It was one of those like T-Mart's like, that's that guy. I was like, oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Everybody wants to open a brewery, but nobody knows how to brew beer.
Yeah.
Right.
Or run a business.
Or everybody
Or run
that knows
a
how to
business.
brew beer
Yeah. So
is not dumb enough to open a brewery.
or
I was talking to Amelia Pillow last night and just making jokes of like, why are we doing this? It's like opening a restaurant. It's that same idea of like,
Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, I mean, you kind of were just commenting that you have to know how to make beer, you have to know how to run a business. You're all benefit from having been in the industry so long too, is you kind of have to have seen what you don't like that breweries do. You have to know how to keep your draft lines clean. If you're going to have food, that's a whole separate thing. There's accounting, there's HR, there's freaking tax management, like
Oh God, yeah.
building maintenance. It's a whole arm and a leg above just the fun of sitting in your garage, like in a keg. A kegel, ladies and gentlemen, is not what you think. It's like a it's a keg turned into a brew
a
kettle.
kegel system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not just sitting in your garage doing
T-Mart is-
kegels.
No,
It's
let's just say,
yeah, well,
under the table.
maybe
that's a whole other
doing
subject
2
we'll
birds,
have
one
to cover
stone.
later.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So
there's
many
a whole
partners.
business that goes into it, and it's cool to see kind of different aspects of that actually come together pragmatically instead of like just dreaming about it and not knowing the realities. You guys know the realities more
Yeah.
than almost anybody I know.
Yeah. So about, I think maybe my first few months at Against the Grain, I think I came to him one day and was like, holy shit, we were unprepared. I was naive to believe that we could have done this. And now looking back, I feel confident enough due to the years of experience that I could probably do it very well. Well, here's to hoping.
Yeah.
And especially with he has more experience than I do. That's been very detrimental for this project because, I can always rely on him to, hey man, this isn't going right. Or what do you think about this recipe? Or how do you think we should do this water chemistry? And that's something that I can go back to and rely because he was the original one who taught me how to brew beer.
Yeah,
So
you selling yourself short.
oh, I know.
You're selling yourself short. Honestly,
I don't know, but
this worked out in a weird way because, like I said, we went through a lot of partners, and outside of T-Mart and I, the only one that stuck was Tom. And we
that's true.
argue like a married couple, all three of us.
Beautiful.
Like I'm the only married one that I genuinely, since we've been in this space, I don't even remember what we were arguing about. This is the last 2 weeks. And I remember being like, guys, I fight with you like I fight with my wife, and I hate her more than anyone. Clara, I love you. You know it's a joke.
Or we argued for an hour before we started this podcast.
It's always we all have very different perspectives on things, and we all at one point or another, I say all, I'm speaking for all of us. So, but no,
you
have to
would.
do things this way, yeah. And it always, I don't know that there's, for whatever reason, this has worked, and it's to me, it's just kind of like it's rad. It's awesome that this worked out, but I still really can't believe we're sitting here doing this.
I think a big thing that has worked for us three is that we all have different skill sets, and we're able to mesh in that regard. I mean, I can't brew beer, but I've ran some businesses and done some things like that in the past. So I think that's been a big benefit. And even with the renovations and things that we've done here, it's been a a good group effort in splitting those things up, and we've all been able to work well together. And Alex says argue, but I feel like it's just good conversation. That's what you have when you're running a business and have partners. You've got to be able to bounce those things off of each other and be able to bring different opinions to the table and be able to vet through them. So
I mean, I think these guys understand. You guys
should hear the way we argue.
definitely have to. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We
You guys argue all the time,
bicker
right?
all the time.
Yeah.
Usually on this podcast.
Yeah,
That's even better.
Podcast is happening.
Yeah, I'll pass it down.
So you're talking a little bit about like the building a little bit. Talk about the process of finding a building and then how you landed this
Jesus.
one that we're in.
there's stories there.
Yeah. So I think, all right, Alex and I originally, I used to get my hair cut from this guy.
Spaces.
No.
So many, even before this building.
But that's the more important one. So I used to go to this barber over off Wall Street in Jeffersonville, and at one point he decided that he had this whole side of his barbershop, which is just an old auto mechanic garage. And he didn't have it built out. And he was like, you guys can use this to brew in. And we immediately were like, hell yeah. This is it, guys. We're opening a brewery.
We had a soft opening.
Yeah.
No license.
Yeah.
We didn't have a soft opening.
opening?
Well, it was,
No.
yeah.
We didn't sell anything.
Yeah.
We took donations for a lot of free beer that we
had a
gave out in
low-key
a
block party.
keezer.
Like 17 people showed
How many
up.
partners?
At this time, I know. Actually,
3.
There was
It
only,
was me, you, and Jason.
yeah, there's only
Yeah.
3 of us at that
It
point.
was his keezer that we were
Yep.
using. Yeah. So yeah, we did that, and that was one of the first places. And that was, what was our original name back then?
I think that we were
Was it-
Wild Hair.
Oh yeah, okay. That
We've
was the
gone
first
through-
iteration.
Actually,
of names.
the name that we have now, we've gone through so many iterations. We started when I first started homebrewing. I lived on Hillside Drive in Bloomington, so we were like Hillside Brewing Company. It's perfect. It's classic,
Perfect.
and
So bad.
Yeah. And then, the guy that actually, so the honestly, the way that the first person to put the idea of opening a brewery in my head, I was homebrewing at my house in college, was doing extract brews like on my stove. A buddy of mine came over to hang out with one of my roommates, and he's like, "What are you making, soup?" I was like, "No, I'm making beers." Like, "What are you going to open a brewery?" He's like, "No." I was, "Why not?" I don't know. And that's and then it was just that guy. He was like one of the first partners he was, I don't know, he's in politics now. So he was very much like, "Oh, I'll see where this goes." He's a good guy. And I don't know, I haven't seen him in years, but whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, Craig Greenberg. Didn't
No,
know that.
Indiana politics. So yeah. I think, I don't know.
It was Roger Baylor.
Yeah, it was Roger Baylor. I get kind of a history. I grew up in New Albany, so, but who didn't go to New Albanian, right?
Oh, of course.
Sports
Yeah,
time,
of course.
Riches, like
Yeah.
that's. But
Potable curmudgeon.
yeah, that was my parents' neighbor one time when I started homebrewing. I think I came home in like a Hawaiian shirt or something. This guy was a cop, and he was like, "You look more and more like Roger Baylor every day." I was like, okay, I'm like 22 years old. Like, all right, bye. I don't like. What was I talking about?
And then you guys
we digressed from the
eventually
building
found your
discussion.
Oh
Location,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Buildings.
Sorry, the building
Buildings,
thing.
several buildings
Every
that we've
time.
had.
Yeah, well, it was the name, so it was, and then it became Wild Hair. I don't remember why. It was Wild Hair.
Yeah,
was
you had
the
a wild
thing.
hair.
Yeah, that's like we're like, oh man, that's great. Actually, I still have the first logo that was ever drawn. That was our Wild Hair logo.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pass it down. It's my phone. I'll show you guys later.
But back to those buildings, though. I mean, so we started with that one on Wall Street, and then we end up eventually just looking at so many different ones. The last couple projects, which I can't really talk about all of it, but we had 2 locations just this last year. In the summer, we had gone and pitched to the city of Clarksville for a location, and they were going to fund most like the brewing equipment for this location. Last minute, the deal got snatched out from under us. As we say, it's gone awry. And as it went awry, a different brewery got it, which we don't
They haven't broken ground.
Yeah, I don't think we can name who it is.
Yeah.
But
They're local.
yeah. They are. And so after that, we started talking to some developers, and we convinced them to buy a building that they did not like, but we thought was an amazing location on Spring Street in Jeffersonville.
And it really was a great spot.
It is
really
a great
is, yeah.
location. And we convinced them to overpay for this building that they kept continuously telling us we don't want this, but we believe in your project. And then last minute, they bought the property behind it and now want to build apartments, and the project outgrew
Thanks
us.
for bringing this to our attention.
Yeah.
They ghosted us.
Yeah.
They
And
just
so,
straight
yeah,
ghosted us.
we didn't hear from them for months. And, you know, this place came available. I just moved down the road, just probably in January. And I remember this spot got up for sale, and Alex was like, "Hey, I got word. You guys want to go look at it?" And we did.
So this spot being the former Awry Brewing in Vigrit's restaurant.
Yes.
Yes.
It was actually I got the email, I think from like through the guild at work, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go look at the equipment. Well, and in my head, the deal over the bridge was still working out. So I was like, cool. I don't want to buy new equipment. We'll buy used. Let's go see what it would cost to come buy this system, tear it out, move it across the bridge, you know, set it up in this new place. And when I got here, Christina from V-Grits was like, yeah, do you want to see the whole place? And I was like, all right, sure. And like walk through. And when I got done, I called these guys, was like, hey, we need to look at this. Like, this is, I know, like so I guess for reference, we always wanted to open in Indiana. We're from Indiana, and like Southern Indiana is growing, and it's kind of underserved as far as brewery. You have New Albanian. Jeffersonville still does not have a brewery.
There's not one in Jeffersonville.
Clarksville
Sellersburg
does not have a brewery
Clarksville.
as of yet. And
So Ready Eddie is no longer
no,
brewing.
we looked
That
at
is
that
correct.
building, and where Flat 12 was,
Yeah.
looked at that building twice
Yeah, we actually did. Yeah.
with different partners. Yeah. Ready
Mhm.
Eddie was, yeah.
They
Well,
tried to brew in there. It
they
never really took
did
off.
They
brew
did
in
brew
there,
for a
Yeah.
minute. Yeah.
the
It
guy,
just never quite.
He didn't
Like,
have a glycol system.
he's not going to see this. Yeah, I'll talk shit about this guy. Like,
Everything
this-
was ahead.
Seriously, he didn't have a glycol
Yeah.
system. I mean,
Yeah.
what are
a
you
buddy
doing?
of ours became the head brewer over there. He was a server and was like, hey, he wants help brewing. Would you mind helping? I was like, absolutely. I live 9 blocks from this place. I would love to have to go to a brewery down the street. And I went and walked through it. I was like, hey man, you need a glycol chiller for these fermenters. He was like, they're not going to do that. I was like, that's kind of a non-starter. I was like, there's no point in moving forward with this. It's a 3-barrel system, but it's like with no temperature control, and the beer was riddled with infection always. Like it's a fine restaurant. It's still Ready
It's a
Eddie,
great
right?
restaurant.
Good
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like
They do local
yeah,
food.
like wonderful, cool business. But that guy sold it. Like he does something else somewhere. He actually, the brewery that was in Ready Eddie Against the Grain bought at one point, and kind of was holding on to it for us because we were like,
Yeah.
hey, are you interested? And we're like, yeah. I mean, it's something. At least the fermenter, sure. They wanted to get rid of it, needed some money. We didn't have things going, like whatever. The dude that originally bought it, like the Red Yeti guy, bought it back from him. And I remember him walking into the brewery to buy it, and I was like, what are the fucking odds? This dude, like, twice. You got my building, and now you got my brewery that you bought twice.
Right.
Yeah.
But now, when Alex presented this building to me and Tyler, and we walked through, I knew that this was probably the right spot. I mean, when you sit out front, I've sit out front of this place several nights and evenings after we've worked on a few things here and done a few things, and the traffic here is phenomenal. The winter in Barrett is just a great traffic area, foot walking area. The traffic,
The neighborhood's
Barrett
really
is
great.
the neighborhood's great. Barrett is really coming alive. There's new businesses
Yes.
open up on
Mhm.
Barrett all the time. There was one that I just saw opened up just the other day, a tea place, and all the little businesses down this street have been great and very welcoming to us so far. So we're excited to be in this neighborhood, and as soon as we get licensed, we're going to open up as soon as we can. So
We also who doesn't have history with the Monkey Wrench? If you're
Oh, yeah.
local,
yeah,
like,
I've been coming here for 20 years.
Yeah.
we all
Because-
remember
yeah.
the Monkey
Yeah.
Wrench
well, that's,
days.
I mean,
I don't because I'm 12.
you can't drink
Yeah, if
here,
you're
man.
older than
You gotta-
12, you do remember the Monkey Wrench, and it was fun. It was a great place
My
to come and
brother
hang.
cooked in this kitchen. Chris Palmer, that owns the Alcove.
Nice.
He was working the bar here and told us when we signed the lease, he came in, we were, hanging out, and he was like, you guys signed a lease to the day of the Monkey Wrench closing. It's like, really?
Wow.
Was it just, it's Yeah. I mean, like I remember talking about Monkey Wrench to Tom, and he's like, yeah, I used to go there. I was like, Monkey Wrench? Because it's had, like the Monkey Wrench had phases of, it was different places. I think Brian Labor told me when he was coming here, it was a dance club.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yep.
The
They play
Monkey
like
Wrench?
techno music.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
play, like there
It
was
sure
like,
was.
they did like comedy in here sometimes.
That's crazy.
It's like,
What?
My
I would
cousin's a
love to see that.
musician and played a show, like an album release here one time. So I always knew it as like like a country version of Magbar.
Ew.
But
They used to do fairs and vendor shows and things like that out there too.
I remember Zombie Walk here.
Yeah. You guys are talking up Southern Indiana, but you know, here
yeah.
you're in the kind of in the middle of the heart of like Germantown and then the Highlands back behind us.
Yeah.
We're all kind of Germantown, Schnitzelburger, like centric or whatever, but we're 5 minutes away from all of our houses. So
Oh, nice.
we're a little bit biased, but just like you're saying about this little Barrett corridor, if you guys haven't walked the Barrett corridor for a little while, I mean, Big Bad Breakfast finally came in and filled that void of Martin's Barbecue.
It's fantastic.
They've got the vintage store or the Derby City Market up there. The new
Great
Sisters
spot.
Tea opened up. There's like the
Shop bar
Halloween
down
horror
there is
stop
great.
next door.
Yeah.
Shop bar is right up the road. So come check out the Barrett Avenue corridor. Get a beer here and then just like do a little walk
And
and
then
then
eat
come
at
back
Fish
down and
House.
drink a few more beers.
For sure. Fish
Oh,
House
yeah.
is great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you're ever curious during Lent, don't know where to go to get fried fish, follow me on Instagram. I review fried fish only during Lent and just not sandwiches. So stop suggesting sandwich places. That's it. That's the whole pitch.
Got it.
Whole plug.
Well, I've got something in this little glass right here.
Well,
oh,
I
yeah.
just poured us a drink that I went to Hungary, Budapest, Hungary. As a matter of fact, for last summer, I was fortunate enough to go over there with my son to do a little bit of wrestling with a team from Indiana. And while we were over there, we were able to taste some of the local liquors from the region and area. And what I've got in front of you guys is it's a drink called Unicum. And they make two versions of it. I have the
I see you,
plum
David.
version of this for you guys to try.
I don't think that just translates well to English.
It does not. It does
Well,
not.
in English.
Well, I mean, I won't tell you what we
It's-
called it, but it's spelled Unicum.
Okay.
It's
For
Unicum.
those that
Yeah,
have
Unicum.
not tried this,
Derby
it's
season.
it's it's a very good local Hungarian drink. So cheers,
Is that
everybody.
really cool?
Cheers.
Absolutely.
Cheers,
Cheers
y'all.
to you guys. You know,
Appreciate
long
it.
road and a lot of shit going awry.
Yeah.
Here we are. Say it
Oh,
smells
we do it
very
all at once. All
jammy.
right.
All at once.
It smells very plummy.
Yeah.
It's got kind of like
Kind
a,
of smells like port.
starts with anise, kind of
A little bit of anise on the front.
herbal.
The original is more anise flavored.
Mhm.
The plum has been a little more popular.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
It's a little
I'm not mad at
different,
that at
right?
all.
It's like
Wait till
If
you
an
try the.
Uber is
I've got
so good.
one other drink from Hungary that I brought back, and it's called Pálinka, and it's
Okay.
another one you can't find over here, or that I have not found at least. And it's just a fermented fruit, is what it is. And I've got the plum version of it. But
Lots
it's
of plum
it's
tonight.
it's very tasty.
Mm.
that's
Uh,
why
it's
the plum was
almost-
left, because we liked it so much we drank everything else
And save the plum
and saved
Yep.
the
for
plum
a special
because it was our favorite
occasion.
that we
Yeah.
haven't had.
So you did talk a little bit about finding the space and how you got to this point. There's a brewing system existing here, and you were looking for parts, but now you're going to use this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's tried and true. What's unique about this? Are there things you're looking to change or tweak, or is this just we're going to do it this way? And we've been friends with Sean and Jeff and Christina from Chimera, formerly, and Becky, of course. How could I possibly?
Yes.
But
You can hear about that.
having been operating as two different breweries, you're under this two different names. You're now the third. So this is kind of like a historic location at this point.
The system is actually it's really nice. It's set up really well. It's I started in a pub and then moved to production. It's like getting back to my roots. Also, the third system that I will have brewed on that Dave Pierce installed or helped install. It was so Sean came over and was walking us through. Hey, this is how I was doing things. This is this is the reason this is this way. And T-Mart started in production, and so the difference between like how you're brewing now versus how you're about to be brewing is going to be for me it's super exciting. It's where craft really gets craft. Like
many
that.
breweries?
There's 5.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that sweet spot.
Yeah, it's a really like
It's home brewing, but you can make enough to run a brewery.
yeah, and it's low risk, high reward. The idea of us doing collaborations, people are like, well, what do you want to do? It's like, what do you want to do? If you can dream it, yeah, we can try it. It's there's yeah, like,
I'm very excited about trying some various different things with the other breweries in here and trying to come up with some.
we get the
different
question
brews.
a lot right now of like, are you guys going to focus on a style? And I'm genuinely, I
Looking at you, David.
have absolutely no idea what's going to be coming out of this place. Even in like we have a
Beer.
lineup of beer, but we have a lineup of like, this is what we're going to start with. These are the beers. This is what we're going to do. And given how everything else we've ever done goes, I don't know how accurate that's going to be. I think it's going to be like, we'll find our groove. We'll fall into our niche, but
You all have kind of like staple recipes that you've developed as like home brewers over the years, things you've worked on the
when's
production side.
the last time you homebrewed?
Ooh.
And not on a home, but like actually brewed at home.
Oh, Jesus. You were living in Shively.
All right.
I think that was it.
So that was over a decade ago.
I love it. So if you decide, hey, we want to make a pale ale, like we want to make an American pale ale, do you have like kind of a go-to recipe that you guys would kind of have in mind, or do you kind of see what hops you can get your hands on and build around that? Or how do you guys go about
I
it?
did just recently find my old notebook with all my old homebrew recipes, and I laughed about them because I'm like, look at all this extra malt I've added for no apparent reason other than I was like,
2
let's
ounces
do
of
it.
honey malt.
Like, I didn't
1
even
ounce
think
of special
about-
roast.
I didn't even think about what I was adding. I was just like, let's add this, let's add that. Just going to the homebrew store, picking out random grain. Like,
I can always tell when somebody got a
what's
recipe
that?
from Nick Landers at Gordon Biersch, because they'll come in and it'll say like 1.000634 ounces of
Grams.
like carafa. I'm like, why? Like you just
It was I think at BBC, I don't even remember what beer it was, but it was basically like an end of the year beer. Anything we have, any grain we have left over, tossed in. And we always call it, it's like, oh dude, this is the homebrewer's wet dream. It's 15 malts in here.
Oh my
4
God.
different hops at 8 different times. And it was all like, okay, we have a half a pound of like, I don't know, saws that we're gonna dry hop with. Like, why? Like, who cares? It's just it's end of the year. We got to get it out of here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel.
Did you name the beer Leftovers?
I think it was actually. I think it was called Ebenezer.
I love it.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
But
Yeah,
they
I
don't
mean-
brew there anymore. So
Going back to the recipe question, I mean, honestly, we're about to just start making new recipes for everything, and then ultimately doing what we've always done and make it, see what we like and or don't like, and then tweak it immediately. And that first pale ale might have 5-6 iterations before we actually are happy and cool with it, and then we'll be like, cool, we're not making pale ale for a while, and then do something different. But we have that solid recipe, and a lot of that comes back to that production background of me, where I'm making the same thing always and making the same thing consistently. So I'm going to pride myself in trying to make it, but I've always, even now where I'm working, I've tweaked things to where you can't tell the difference, but you can. It's
that's always the
enhanced
goal.
different little flavors, but also keeping costs down. And so like the mix of, I'm excited to finally experiment. I haven't really gotten to since I homebrewed, and I gotta admit, when I was homebrewing, they weren't good. I didn't understand fermentation properly. I was just like, cool, it can just like go up to 80 in my closet and we're good.
Yeah.
Like, perfect.
This was also like the time of like 100 IBU. Like Optimus was the greatest local IPA you could. Well, maybe not.
It was a pretty good IPA.
It was. And
It was
like,
the most talked about because it was, oh my God, 9%.
And nobody was doing
10%.
anything like that.
Yeah,
100
that's
IBU.
true.
Yeah.
That's
No,
true.
it-
Novel and new.
I do have a story about Optimus from New Albanian.
Yeah.
Because when I started drinking beer, I didn't like bitter beer at all. And theirs was advertised as like 120 IBU.
Yeah.
Insanely bitter for what it was, but also it had a lot more alcohol kick to it. So when I was like getting into the craft scene, hazies were very, very early. And then West Coast, the original New Belgian Ranger was very, very bitter still. And went to New Albanian, had this Optimus, and then basically I used that as a barometer for every bitter beer I had beyond this was like, well, at least it's not as bad as Optimus. So at least it's not as bad as Hoppus.
Jeez.
And then I eventually like worked my way down to like the New England bitter, like fruity things, and then eventually went back through the spectrum and was like, Optimus is really good.
Yeah.
Like, but I just didn't like it at the time.
I want to. This is a question for everybody. So I feel when you get into craft beer, no matter who you are, you start on one end or the other. You're either like, well, at least I don't know. I don't know how old everybody is, but I'm 35. So when I was getting into it, a lot of my peer group, it's either you're a total hophead and you're looking for something super bitter, or it's like English malty styles. Like my first. Not craft beer, but like when I realized beer could be more than Keystone Light was Newcastle.
Mhm.
I was like, holy shit, beer can be brown?
Nuki's a great like intro beer. For a lot of- myself included.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I haven't had. I think the last time I had one of those, I remember being like, I used to love this beer and had it. And I was like, this is
Oh, they
real
changed
bad.
the recipe. They make
It's
it
so
in America
bad.
now, and it's fucking dog shit. They like totally changed the recipe like 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, I'm the old guy in the group for sure. And I got started in the early 90s on craft beer, which really wasn't craft beer back then. But you could get Anchor Steam.
So are you saying you were into craft beer before it was cool?
I'd like to think I was that cool, but I don't know about that. But yeah, so Anchor Steam, we lived on the East Coast, and we'd get Anchor Steam from the West Coast, and just thought that was the bee's knees, man. That was the best beer going at the time. But then we found, when I was living in D.C., a place called the Brickskeller that carried over 500 beers on their menu at the time. And I think they're over 1,000 now.
Jesus Christ.
So we'd go there and play a little game where you'd order your first beer and nobody could order another one until you're done with that one. And then you order the guy to the left of you.
Huh.
And so if you screw him, you're going to get screwed coming back because then you order a beer for the guy on the right of you. And we'd usually come out of there after eating a few pizzas and drinking 4 or 5 beers, and couldn't hardly walk. But that was my experience to getting into craft beers and just beers from around the world, really. So
I love that game.
I go way back. It was a great game. It's fun to play.
Are you all familiar? Sorry, actually, I'm just gonna make a note of another question I have, but I want to know where everybody started with. Like, we're all here for beer.
Yeah.
Where did we all start? What we got? Yeah.
Why don't we start at that end? David?
Yeah.
What do you mean start?
David went. He tried to go to New Albany. He hated Optimus.
Was that
yeah.
Like,
when,
what was
when
the
did you find craft beer or beer in general?
what was the first beer that made you feel like, oh, I love this?
So I lived what I would say dangerously close to Hilltop Tavern.
Yeah.
And they still do it to this day, but every Thursday is a pint night with a glass. So being a broke ass college student,
Yeah.
I would not only go for the glass, but I would also go to have several beers that would kind of be discounted or special for that evening. And I was like, oh, what a cool way. And like, I realized that my roommates were just like, hey man, like you ask us every Thursday to go to Hilltop. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, but we went Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like what's one more day?
I don't understand.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
And
So,
what's the problem?
yeah. So they were a huge influence being there. And then also on Frankfurt Avenue, there was a really great bar called Louis the Ton.
Yeah.
And they had a curated beer selection that I like that. And then right next door, Sergio's, and like your game, Tom, of like trying these things out on the wall. I mean, that was just walking in and being like, I'll just grab something and just see what happens.
Just try
And,
it.
like it was a real crapshoot, but I found some really good gems. Like to this day, one beer I always go back to. There's Odin's Tipple. I don't know if you ever had that. No, it's from Hanbruget. I probably butchered that.
Okay.
Fine.
But anyways, that's where I started, and I think I've somehow narrowed it down to less.
Yeah. It's a bell curve.
Yeah.
I mean, what's not to like going and trying a bunch of new
Yeah.
beers?
Oh, yeah.
Just
That's
things
what
that
it's all
you've
about,
never
right? Yeah.
had. I mean, that's really what it's all about, right?
What about you, Mr. Muller?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about well, to answer the first question about like just style wise, I guess I may have been more on the hoppy side.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really remember, but I just know that the style that took me the longest to get around it was sours. Like I for years I didn't understand why people enjoyed sours.
I get
Like
it.
I remember the first time I had Anderson Valley. It was like one of the Gozes. I don't remember which one, but like I thought that was one of the most disgusting beers I've ever had in the world. And yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's very popular, but like at the time I was like, why are people like tasting this thing? It tastes like vomit to me. And I don't know. I mean, I was a senior at IU Southeast, and I would have this long break in between classes until my Monday night class. It was a procedural law class, and I would go hang out at the New Albanian for 3 hours.
Did you take Roger's class? I don't know if you all know, Roger Baylor taught a class at IUS.
No.
And it was about beer and brewing. And it was,
Oh, cool.
I went to IUS briefly, and I wasn't old enough to take it. You had to be 21. You had to be of drinking age. And I was like, oh my, it was no credit.
Was it scheduled for an hour,
No
but
credit.
went 3 hours every session?
No, I never got to take it. It was scheduled for an hour, but all I know is at least part of it included like tastings at New Albanian. I'm assuming guided tastings. I'm just going to make up a lot of my own like
Sure.
head canon.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes
for
sense.
what happened.
So I think that was like when I actually sat down and started thinking about beer as something to learn and not just something to drink. Is doing like, doing homework and writing papers, whatever, at New Albanian, but then also purposefully drinking a beer and thinking like, okay, this is a cream ale, this is a stout, this is a double IPA. What do I think about these things? And I'd actually like have it was like an old school like iPhone note app, and I would just write in that because I didn't even know I didn't know what Untapped was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
That's the most Michael Mueller thing I've ever heard.
now I'm doing the exact same process with wine.
Yeah,
because
nice.
I don't know anything about wine except for like in the last 6 months, I'm trying to like dedicate some time in the week to just like, all right, let me try to treat this the same way I've treated beer, like 9 years ago or whatever. And I can't. There's so many brands and different wines and regions and like soils and everything. Like I have no idea what's going on. It's just like this is good.
T-Mart's good. I love wine. I don't know anything about it. And so like it's a classic. We'll go out to dinner and like order a bottle of wine. When people with money are trying to get business out of companies that we work for, take us to dinner, and they're like, get whatever you want. Like T-Mart's got a wine list going through like, we're gonna have this. I'm like, anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Ronate? Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna take the beer question. So I worked at Rocky's. It's where I met Alex, and we had 32 beers on, and honestly, 8 of them were like domestic, so it doesn't really count the same. But anyways, I remember I had just started showing interest in bartending. I was serving tables, and one of the bartenders was like, hey, you should try this beer. I poured it wrong, so it's just been sitting in the well, and it needs to go. And it was a Rogue Summer Ale with like orange zest or something. And I remember it was the first time I had something other than Bud Light. I was like, this doesn't taste like regular beer. This tastes like, holy shit, this tastes like a little bit of fruit. And I really, really, really liked that. Then literally a week later, a friend of ours named Jamie was off, and he poured himself a 22-ounce Bigfoot. And as he sat there and drank that Bigfoot, he's like, you want to try it? You're not going to like it. And I remember taking a sip and being like, holy shit, this is the best thing I've ever had. And took like 4 gulps. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, what? And he's like, this is like 12%. I was like, is that a lot?
Yeah.
And,
But it's so tasty.
yeah. I couldn't believe. I was like, oh my God, I got really into barley wines really early. And then like, I didn't even know then. And then no joke, I think the next month I tried to find any beer that would burn my tongue. So I was just all over the place.
So the wine guy got into barley wine.
This is before.
Yeah, so I know,
Before
ironic.
wine, though.
But it's funny because Michael brought up a good point. Sours were something for me I could never get my head around, especially because when sours started surging, I was in the wine industry, and Brettanomyces was your fucking enemy. If you had Brett in your wine or any of your barrels, burn them. Don't do anything else with them. Burn them. Don't dump them down the drain. Get rid of them. I'm joking about the burning part, but it's the idea, to get rid of Brett. And then I started like, beer put Brett in here on purpose? That's fucking awful. That's disgusting.
Why would you do
I would
this?
smell like vinegar and acetic acid, and I'm just gag. Like,
You have the nose for acetic acid. We get barrels in at ATG. A lot of acronyms. Whatever. We got barrels there too.
You said you weren't going to mention that name. I think tonight. Wasn't that part of the rules?
told this scripted podcast that they gave us.
This is all ChatGPT,
What
guys.
you say at this point, and so that's what I've been dropping. I'm going to call them Easter eggs. When you say dog whistle, it gets it's bad connotation.
Don't use dog whistle. Yeah.
But no, it's you have the nose for acetic. It was always like we'll unload barrels. We would cross the pad at ATG. We're like, that one's bad. Put it outside.
Yeah.
And all I know, if I taste a beer and I'm like, that don't taste right.
Yeah,
what's
but
wrong with
it's
this,
actually,
Alex?
I think there's something though where Tom, I don't know, maybe you don't have the most trained palate. I wouldn't it's not developed, but it's honestly, I think there's something about that. Somebody that likes beer and doesn't like, oh yeah, this has got diacetyl and this, and it's like, rather than just be like, that's fucked.
That's how you learn too. Is you actually learn what those flavors are. You learn where they come from. You learn, and then when you get into homebrewing, you're like, how do I either do these things intentionally or avoid them intentionally? And that gives you so much room to play, which to me is why beer is cooler than wine. Although wine's cool too. That's where the terroir is in beer.
Wine's fine.
Wine all comes from the earth and whatever, but the terroir in beer is the people and the procedures and the funk and non-funk. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
That's what really attracted me to this industry too, is just the craft of it. I mean, you've got to be a craftsman to be able to make beer, and to make good beer, you got to be a really good craftsman. So, I mean, that's a big thing that attracted me to this industry and wanted me to be a part of it. Really,
we're in the heart of bourbon country, and distilleries like brewers. They like beer brewers. No hate to any distillers. It's a different game. And when you're talking about sanitation and stuff, it's walking into any distillery in town or in the state and smelling sourdough is a thing where it breaks my brain. It's one of those of that's wrong. No. This is okay. This is part of it. This is supposed to be there. But also, you're not skirting this question.
I grew up in a family where I always had alcohol. So it was never my first beer or anything. But the first time I was me and my friends got drunk together, I worked at a grocery store. I think I was bringing in carts or something. And then this old lady came up to me with a jar of mayonnaise. She didn't say anything. She just dropped it in the floor. And it was an old glass and it shattered. And they go, John, clean it up. And I go, why the fuck do I have to clean it up? I was just victim here. So anyway, I cleaned it up. And then I was putting all the garbage cans in this cart to roll it out to the dumpster. And I was like, so I was going behind this giant stack of Pepsi where they also happen to keep all the beer. And so I was like, you know what? And then I put 2 cases of Heineken in the garbage can and I put it out by the dumpster. And I called my friend. I was like, hey, there's 2 cases of Heineken out by this dumpster.
That is excellent.
Because fuck this place. That was the first time me and my friend
We're going to get drunk on some Heineken.
That's great.
So we ordered Papa John's.
That's fantastic.
We ordered Papa John's pizza and we were in my basement. We snuck it down. My parents were upstairs. They didn't really care. They knew what we were doing down there. As long as we didn't go anywhere, they were probably cool with it. But then we were like, yeah, we got fucking beers. We're cool as shit. And it's Heineken. We're like,
yeah.
Bro, we're fucking living life. It's good, right? You like it?
It's warm. It's probably warm by that time.
Yeah, it was warm.
Man, so
warm.
we
That's
might not
great.
even be on this podcast right now had that lady just not gone postal and dropped some mayonnaise on you.
I know.
Right.
Unfortunately, mysterious. Something went awry that day.
Something went awry.
Shout out to mayonnaise.
And then much like you guys said, kind of that takes just the love of beer took me into home brewing.
Yeah.
Got to go to England when I was 18, and we got to try Guinness in Newcastle and all that kind of stuff. Came back with
Game
love for it. You
changers.
can't get it here.
Mhm.
I made wine with my dad when I was a kid, so I kind of had the fundamentals or whatever, and then got into home brewing from there.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Munich in 1990, and we got to go to the Hofbrauhaus.
Was that in the service?
In the service, yeah.
So many people from military backgrounds come back. I hear that story all the time. I was stationed in Munich or wherever.
It's fantastic. If you've never been to the Hofbrauhaus, it's very.
I went when I was 16.
Yeah,
and I
worth
could
going.
drink.
Yeah, and you could drink.
Yeah,
and you
nice.
could drink. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
It was the best time. We went during the Olympics. I think it was 90. It was in Europe at that time, so there was a lot of people traveling through the area at the time. So the group that we got there, we had the whole house rocking at the Hofbrauhaus
Hell yeah.
when we were there as Marines. It was
Hell yeah.
it was one of the best times of my life, actually.
Well, we're going to move on to a show and tell segment now. And I believe, Tom, I think we've already kicked off a little bit earlier with yours.
Sure.
So, yeah. So thank you for sharing Unicum with us. as always, we ask our guests to bring 2 different things, a beverage to share and something else. It's just like non-beverage. So we get to learn a little bit more about you. Did you bring anything else to share with the class today?
We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with Tom's first.
Show and tell is
Tom has
was
a lot
never
of
my
stuff.
forte, but
That's probably best in the court system.
I'm coming from the outside of the industry looking in, really, and I guess my show and tell is really just a scrapbook of things that I've done in my life, mainly back when I was in the Marine Corps.
So you're breaking out a literal scrapbook right now.
a little
And it says scrapbook.
It actually does say scrapbook. So
How convenient.
It's just a bunch of things that I've kind of done over the times of my life that it kind of meant a little something to me, and mainly it was wrestling. Early in my life, but then I went in the Marine Corps, and I was fortunate enough to be stationed with the Presidential Helicopter Squadron, and got to travel around the world really with President Bush and Clinton for a little bit, and that's really where I got to taste a lot of the different beers and things from all over the world. I got to go to Turkey, Germany, Paris, Bermuda. Greenland, various.
I'm looking at a Turkish aerospace industries guide right now. Is that something?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird deal when we were in Turkey. We were there with President H.W. Bush and got to travel around and just see various things in the country. And really, when he went places, we would really have a lot of time off and go explore things. So we were fortunate to be able to do that. So we went to a lot of breweries, bars, whatever we could find, and just got to do a lot of cool things. We were actually in the capital of Turkey, Ankara, in 1991, and it was a big deal with George Bush going there and meeting with the Turkish president. And
Is that a happy time in Turkey, or is that a?
It was shortly after the war, so we were. It was a kind of a happy time, yes, but we were also told not to get out and do a whole lot, which of course we got out and did a whole lot, and didn't listen. So yeah, I mean it was different times. It was fun while it lasted, and that's kind of what I've got to show you guys. I've just been a little bit of everywhere and kind of coming from the outside looking into this industry. But in my past life also, I've been in some Fortune 500 companies and ran some businesses and things like that. And then, that's kind of how I ended up here.
So Awry is going to be a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
Hey, let's hope so.
Yeah.
Traded on the S&P.
Yeah.
Sounds like everybody's glasses are empty. Did one of you all bring a beer for the show and tell?
We do have one beer.
Yeah, and
One beer?
we have some wine as well.
Oh,
Well,
So what do you want to do?
Let's-
We got
I'm-
wine, beer.
I'm putting to T-Mart.
Okay, so my original show and tell, as I'll just go ahead and tell the group, we're not playing a movie because license infringement, which we'll figure out later. But we
We're
do
in
have
the process of finding a license for
yeah,
this movie.
we do have, I guess I can say it, the Fifth Element on the background. I was going to play Starship Troopers, and I was going to present that as because it's my favorite sci-fi film, and it's just a goofy fucking movie. So I was going to have that play. But I like the paused screen of Bruce Willis a lot better. Anyways, that was my original thing. I can also show Phoebe because she's been pretty much our mascot for this whole time.
yeah. Phoebe's
That's
a dog.
That's my little dog.
Pick up the dog.
Yeah, pick up the dog for the camera.
We're gonna do a sitcom called My Three Dads. It's
Yeah.
about Phoebe.
Phoebe speak. All
Phoebe
right,
speak.
thank you. She's doing great. So yeah, this is Phoebe's, and so yeah,
She's
my
recently featured the selfies at Hawks, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, weird.
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
So
I just wondered.
I'm gonna have to get up for my show. And tell. Oh, perfect. So this actually is when I made wine. I made wine for about 6 years, and I won a plethora of awards. Some of them not so prestigious. One of them was, and seriously. And I'm not trying to talk shit about the wine industry within the state of Kentucky, but some of the awards I won weren't actually like a big deal because I don't think anybody in any other state would probably take us that serious. That being said, this was a bottle of wine. Can I get the wine key?
I don't.
Thank you. So this is a bottle of wine that I won a silver medal for at an international competition. Now, despite what you're thinking, I didn't come in second. In the wine industry, they do double gold as first, gold is second, silver is third. So I came
Fucking
third.
wine people.
But
It's like-
this is actually this is a semi-dry Riesling I did with a company that no longer exists, and they no longer exist because they pissed off the TTB by not doing things legally, and he lost his business. So I do not care to talk shit.
I guarantee you more wine people than beer people are the people that complain about like participation trophies. Meanwhile, like doing the double gold. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no,
Come on,
that's
guys.
today. I
That's
was like,
popular in whiskey though too. I mean,
Why?
spirits, double gold, platinum.
Well,
What-
I just
what's
don't want to
wrong
hear
with
about your
platinum?
participation
Jesus.
trophy.
What's
like,
wrong with gold, silver, and bronze?
That's what I'm saying.
What? We need a fourth place, and then it's the same people. bitching
I'm
about,
triple
like,
silver.
Yo, I was like, best in show or honorable mention.
Mhm.
I don't know. I've won one award.
You know
I've
what you are
lost
if you ain't
most.
first?
Last.
You're last, right? What movie is that from? I mean, come on. I mean,
Okay, so this is a semi-dry Riesling that I did. That I won silver for. We beat 1,300 wines in this category at the International Wine Fest in Indianapolis, which apparently is pretty prestigious.
And what year is this?
What year? I believe I made this in 2015.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's vintage.
Oh yes, it's a little old. It's still holding up. I opened a bottle recently to make sure I wasn't going to give you all like shit.
You would know if it's acetic. We already covered that.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
got that beautiful like Riesling nose right off the bat. You get that little bit of like, it's not completely de-gassed. Like it's got that little teeny bit of
Sorry.
bubbles holding on.
So yeah, it's got a wonderful bouquet in the nose. Slight floral notes. Very fruit forward for a Riesling. Like I said, semi-dry. Did you not get some? I thought I poured 6 glasses. Oh, sorry, Tom.
Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, he can share some of mine. I
Oh.
poured way too much.
There's a glass sitting on the bar.
No, we
Oh,
got it. We
that's
got
where
it.
it is. Anyways,
I run the homebrew shop. This is how I usually taste wine for people.
so yeah.
That's a heroic glass.
So yeah,
of
this
wine.
is
That is.
yeah.
That's
So
a Karen glass there, my
cheers to
friend.
this.
Yes.
Cheers.
Because this is exciting for me to share this with you all. I don't have a labeled bottle. This is one of the shiners that
That's
I took.
also a heroic glass of wine.
Still holding up well.
It starts.
It's got a little bit of sugar to it. Not too much. If it was
That's the
drier.
style for a Riesling, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very nice.
That's like one of those German Rhine Valley
That's very good.
beers. They grow them on the hills. They
Yeah.
get a lot of sunlight. It's very well drained.
So
the
this
grapes get very
specific grape
concentrated.
we got out of Washington State. We were ordering random grapes from Washington, Oregon, and California, and for our whites, we had gone with this new vintner out there. Don't remember the region, so not that far from Yakima actually, but I don't remember the exact name. But yeah, this is it. So
it's good.
beautiful. Yeah, it's very,
I don't
very
think
nice.
anybody else has had this in a while. I get tell you the name of the winery, but again, it doesn't matter. They're close.
Especially for being that old,
Yeah.
like the legs hold up
Yeah.
in my plastic glass.
Oh yeah,
But
it's,
like
it's
the kind of like not buttery, but that kind of creaminess on the front of your palate holds up. It's very well balanced and very, very nice.
Thanks.
Yeah.
With the winemaker I used to work under, he and I won a plethora of awards. And like I said, this was the most prestigious. And I just so happened to have a bottle. We won a lot of awards for sweet wine, but not talking shit, but no one, like, it's fucking sweet wine. So it's just like, hey, who put the most berries and sugar in this? And whereas this was a project that we actually, took very serious. Only did semi-dry because we wanted a dry Riesling, but we didn't think it would sell in Southern Indiana. So we had a little sugar back. And that was really why we did it. We ended up liking it enough that we decided to enter it, not really thinking it was going to place in this specific category. And lo and behold, we got silver.
Oh yeah.
3rd place.
I was going to say, tastes like a third place wine.
Yeah.
It's the best third place wine I've ever had.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So this is my
Exceptional.
this is
Yeah.
my
I
gift.
taste a lot of wine. It's made by people, and this is. I would give this an award.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I think most wine is made by people, unless we've
Wow.
reached to the point of AI,
AI
creating
wine.
these. No.
You know what I mean?
Did you guys see the AI beer commercial?
Oh, it's terrible.
That's so- what are you talking about? That's
The
great.
summer of synthesizer or whatever. I don't know.
The
Yeah,
double
it's a-
40. But buddy
The
buddy
bong.
texted us. Yeah, he was like, we should do double 40s. I'm like, yes.
But by the way, Buddy from Monic is who we're referring
yeah.
to.
Yes. I think people know Buddy on this podcast.
I assume
Yeah,
they
buddy
do.
Buddy is excellent. Like,
Shout out to Buddy.
And since we said AI, it's time to take a break
Oh,
because that's where we go with that.
Yes, well, we've all enjoyed some wine, different beverages. There's some food on the table here that we're going to talk about too in a second that we've kind of been munching on. But if you're feeling a little full right now, we have something on the table that we really love and appreciate. Underberg. Are you all familiar with Underberg?
I
Very
think I'm
love
familiar.
Underberg.
Well,
Very familiar.
I have a lot of caps I'm about to
I'm
send.
also familiar with the Berg Break. I'm a big fan of the pod. Been dying to come on. How many emails have we sent?
so many.
Long time listener, first time
Yeah.
caller.
It's been a while. So I'm gonna propose we do this Norwegian style.
Okay.
Charlie Mears from Magnanimous in Florida. Last time he was in town, we were getting Nuderbergs, and he was like, "You gotta do Norwegian." I was like, "What's that?" So some of us are wearing headphones; those will have to come off. You hold it in your teeth. You tip it back, but you hold your ears, and
Yeah.
to quote Charlie, it just makes the most adorable little sound.
Okay.
45-degree angle.
Adorable little sound.
And let's enjoy this Berg break together.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Underberg. I wish I could have done that into the mic. It sounds like
I was about to say you can edit that to put it
yeah, I
in,
could
right?
probably
That was
figure that out. It does make an adorable little noise.
An adorable little sound.
Oh,
Yeah.
how precious! That sounds-
Ever
is
since
that
you showed me
Norwegian?
that, that's the only way I do Underbergs now.
Yeah,
gracious.
you'd show me that method at Atrium, I believe, last
love
month.
that.
The day that you all, I think, may have signed.
That's when we closed with the
Building,
bank.
yeah, whenever that was. Yeah,
It was.
and
The
yeah,
night I
we
lost my wallet.
celebrated
Yeah,
with
that
an
was-
Underberg.
No, that was the lease.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So
Oops.
yeah,
Everybody go try an Underberg Norwegian style.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're just trying Underberg. If
Yeah,
you're
thanks,
if you're in between breaking, or if you just need something else as a little pick me up after a big meal, grab an Underberg and enjoy.
Underberg.
We actually just came into a cache of caps, so we're
Ooh,
super
nice.
excited to get some merch in here.
Hell yeah.
Also, you all might be able to clear this up. About a year or two ago, I heard this rumor of like they're done with the cap program. And-
Still going strong.
Yeah, I was like in a panic. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm never gonna get anything. We can't do like." And that was
I
2
want the
years ago.
truck.
so-
I want
I
that
want the
truck.
thermometer.
On the truck.
I want a plate. I really want to get one of the plates.
Oh, okay.
T-Mart was like, "Hey, what do you want to get?" And I was like,
The
"Let's get a
duffel
plate."
bag.
He was like with time. I was like, "Yeah." Who else has one? Nobody has that.
I want a full set. I don't
Of the plates?
have
Yeah.
a China cabinet, but I would buy one
Just
just
for
so
the
I
Underberg
could,
China
yeah,
cabinet.
just so I could
We
put
Do you
a.
hear that?
will-
An Underberg China cabinet.
Screw that guy. We're installing a China cabinet actually. So and it'll be part of the community. So I don't know.
It's like that
it's
good
like a
German
timeshare.
China, you know?
German
Yeah,
China.
That's the good guy.
It's like a German.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't
Oh.
want a German cabinet.
It's
We-
fun.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about things going awry, so I cooked up a little game for you guys
Ooh.
about happy little accidents or things that kind of go awry, but the outcome is good.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a topic or an invention that was inadvertently created, and one of you give me an answer on why you think this was created this way or how. If you don't know, a wrong answer is preferred.
Are you going to ask
like
us
a trivia
individually to
question?
I
answer?
think it's like wrong answers.
Wrong
only.
answers only.
Unless
Got
you
it.
know.
Unless you know.
Well, okay. I
In
only
which
asked
case you
because
should
the
try to
three of us
sell
are going
it
to
like
shout out
bullshit.
things and talk over each other. So
So wait, are we a team or are we competing against each other?
So you converge, one person answers.
Got it.
got
All
it.
right.
So huddle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Family Feud style.
So I'll make this really,
It'd be funny to huddle on mic.
Oh, we will.
Oh, it would be fantastic.
I'll start off easy with penicillin.
Penicillin?
Mhm.
Mm.
Why was penicillin invented?
No, how?
How?
How? So I actually, all right. If you guys are all right, I'll take this. I'm a big fan. My second favorite franchise of all time is the Ninja Turtles. So I know definitively, penicillin actually started as kind of in the same way of a lot of like sour beers and some natural wines and whatnot as a culture, a SCOBY, but more specifically on pizza dough that would be crust. And I don't know, about 1600 years of doing that, they found that there were some nominal like medicinal benefits. and kind of started exploring that a little bit and invented amoxicillin. And that's, I'm pretty sure, like, why none of us are sick right now.
That's not the real story. The real story is there was a guy in South America. He was working for Henry Ford in the Amazon rainforest, and he was trying to develop a system to break down the rubber tree plants to make a process where they could actually produce tires with it. In that process, he discovered this little fungus. He was trying to break down the rubber tree to make rubber. He accidentally discovered that it was killing all the bacteria. Thus, penicillin was born.
Can I bring an exhibit into this? Because if we would look at the 1990 movie Ninja Turtles, it is very clear that
That's the ooze.
no, that's the second one in like
Ooze is an
92 or
allegory.
93.
Okay.
I'll call my brother. He'll know off the top of his
Phone a
head.
friend.
But it's
Phone a friend.
No,
We're not phoning a friend.
Donatello for sure. They find a pizza after they come back. They're ousted from the sewer layer, and Michelangelo's like, oh, and Donatello, played by Corey Feldman, turns to Michelangelo and says, "Do you like penicillin on your pizza?" And then they start humming taps because they, in fact,
Corey
do not
Feldman
care.
played
Donatello
Donatello.
for the
I
first
didn't
and
know
third
that.
Ninja Turtles.
So
So-
I just think that
I don't know if that's right, but I know it's bread mold.
all I know is I'm pretty sure is that a dude had to administer it to himself because he couldn't ethically
true.
find any folks to do it. So like he was taking a risk on his own life because he had a hunch that, hey, this thing could be helpful.
He would have also had to get sick first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did he infect
Intentionally.
himself with something and then
Here's
do
the-
it?
like.
We
I
didn't
know
really
the odds
huddle
were
on
probably
that
not
question.
50-50, but no, we didn't.
He's like,
But
I
just wanted to
got
talk about Ninja
syphilis.
Turtles. I've been the whole before we even sat down. I was like, I'm gonna shoehorn Ninja Turtles into this at some point. Tomorrow's Star Wars Day, my first favorite franchise.
Fuck yeah.
And also, I do have some hard opinions on this sci-fi versus space fantasy, space opera that I just listened to on Tuesday. We can talk about that later. We can talk about that off mic. But
Yeah, we're gonna
I
talk
very much
about it
would
off
like
mic.
to talk about it.
So,
Next question.
Yeah, next question,
Well,
please.
tell
the real answer is it was inspired by Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Of course
No.
it was.
Scottish biologist Alexander Fleming was the person that discovered penicillin. It was a bacterial culture that lived on a petri dish and expired all of the other bacteria there.
Ah.
So
I
then
was
he was
close.
I
like,
can't remember what he was trying to do, though. He was trying to do something.
He was trying to do something.
Yeah.
I know, there's a story with it.
Yeah. I think it was preserve
imagine if
people.
I had the
Oh,
story in front of me.
Oh, go ahead.
So
David,
we
go
agree.
ahead.
He was
It's
trying
like-
to do something. All right,
Yes.
He
So
was
we-
trying to do
honestly,
something.
we
We
were all
are
right.
all in agreement on that?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
as long as we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I think the only one that was definitively wrong was John's answer. So-
Dude, the rubber tree thing. All right.
I was just trying to,
I see.
I mean, it sounded
I see.
it
I
was
like
very
it.
convincing.
Isn't that mold that he originally used on display in a museum right now? I think I just
Lighten us, David.
heard it sold
I-
for a million.
Probably Smithsonian.
I'm going to move to
Jamie,
the
can you
next
look that up for us?
Oh,
topic.
sorry.
All right.
Pass.
We'll link in the show notes.
the microwave.
Just
I remember when
what
we
about
got our
it?
very first microwave.
Tom,
That's
you
how
were in the
old I am.
Marines.
I'm just saying.
You got intelligence on this for sure.
I remember when the microwave wasn't even around.
Well, why don't you talk about the first time you had one and what'd you think about it? What do you think it did?
You had to worry about those waves getting you. You know, you didn't want to stand too close. And
Like,
it
put
had
your
a
face against
dial,
it.
like a dial
Mhm.
knob on it to turn.
Dude,
the-
I still tell my kids to
timer.
back up from the microwave because there's still a part of me where I'm like,
You-
something's gonna
Yes.
happen.
Did you,
There's radiation there. Radiation.
Did you wear one of those
The sun
lead
is
things at the
radiation.
dentist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Put my vest on.
Are you asking what it is?
Any
Are you
theories
asking
about
what it
how-
does?
How did it
microwave-
happen?
How did it become
How was it
invented?
discovered
Oh.
Shit.
as a
Do we
commercial
need a huddle?
appliance?
You guys want
for
a huddle?
application?
We should probably.
Can we phone a friend? No. I thought we just said no.
Oh, brainstorm into the mic. It'll be way funnier for the audience.
alien technology for sure.
Oh, it's definitely alien technology.
I thought it was.
I mean, it comes way back.
It's from Roswell. There's also
Roswell.
a Futurama episode of this.
I'm
pretty sure.
Well, and that's historically accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nixon
Yeah.
becomes president in the future.
We believe it happened at Roswell.
Mhm.
Final answer.
That's our final answer.
All right, here's one alternative.
John, I don't need your
There was
alternative.
a guy, there was a
Let
guy
John
in
speak.
Paris just taking a walk with his kids.
Definitely wrong.
His
Paris.
kids wanted to go to a candy shop, and so he like stopped in for a chocolate bar to feed his fucking stupid kids. He was
Mhm.
walking home with them, and he walked by like a radio station. All of a sudden, he felt shit going down his leg. He's like, "Oh, I've become incontinent." Nay,
Oosh.
he walked by a place that was emitting microwaves from their like radio facility, and it melted the chocolate. He figured it out eventually. He's like, "Oh, and then he turned it into the microwave oven.
So radio waves started microwaves,
It's all
and the
in
French man melted
like
chocolate.
electromagnetic spectrum.
I do,
Microwaves are just a hair above radio waves.
Got it.
I do know why microwaves make things hot. If
Mhm.
that helps.
They shake
It
the
does.
molecule,
Mhm.
water molecules.
Please
with them.
share.
Yeah, it's friction. It stimulates water molecules in whatever you're microwaving. I don't know why it fucks with metal so hard, but that's cool.
That's the aliens.
Yeah. Jared told me today that you can microwave an aluminum can. Actually, I asked and he said, you can microwave anything.
That's
This is a true statement.
That's true.
We don't have a microwave here.
Is it a good idea to microwave this? I'm Jory Karen.
Hey, did you all ever put a CD in the microwave?
Oh yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
It goes,
It's one of those.
Damn, I didn't.
Oh man, my parents would have killed me, but I remember being like in middle school, even high school, maybe like we all have that friend who's like, their parents are around, but it's like that's the house where we're gonna go fuck around. Like that's like that was So we were at Adam Barzak's house, and he was like, "Watch this," and we were making super saturated solutions of salt water.
Yep.
And we're like, "Cool, put a CD in the microwave."
Yes.
David, how
Dude,
did the
Southern
microwave
Indiana
get invented?
rips.
Much to my chagrin, because I didn't ask for the answer, but John kind of came up with it.
I knew that.
In 1945, Percy Spencer, this is a military-funded operation. He was working for Raytheon, of course.
Of course.
And they were using a radar magnetron.
That's right. Radar
And
magnetron.
The chocolate bar did melt in his pants pocket. I would bargain that would trigger me as a sign of incontinence.
Right.
So I'll buy that piece.
I don't.
And then he went on to develop the
Hold on.
homemade microwave that revolutionized home cooking.
A chocolate bar melts in your pocket, and you think you pissed and
I made that part up. I made that part up.
Well, it's
That's just
Okay.
what I would assume.
that's a fact now.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That
now.
guy's a dipshit.
So during that segment, I wrote David like a little note on a piece of paper with my guess. It was like GE Appliances 1956 or something like that. But actually, I think it was a little bit later on, and I was thinking about the over the range microwave, which was a game changer for the kitchen.
Yeah.
I used to do corporate social media for GE Appliances, so I had like some weird memory banks and going. I was like, I remember seeing videos about the microwave, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this wine's great.
Hey, remind me. I have a question for everybody that I like to. It's a question I ask in job interviews, but I want to finish this first.
Yeah,
But
of
if I
course.
don't say it, I'm going to forget.
All right, let's go
Go
on
ahead
to
and say it.
our
Let's
last
what do you
question.
have?
Say that.
No,
Okay.
stop.
Okay.
David,
Yeah.
please continue.
I like this game.
It's fun.
Who is interviewing who?
That's the real question.
David, this is a job interview. Did
Yeah,
you
man.
know?
You knew going. We told you last night that we had questions for you all.
Yeah.
I didn't see you last
This has
night.
gone. This
That
has
is
gone
not
awry.
I told you that.
We told you that while you were
We
sleeping.
came to. We were all. Well, John wasn't there, and Tom wasn't there. But 4 of the 6 of us were at Shippingport.
Well, John was there.
Ale
but
Trail
he left.
Tuesday.
I
But
was-
by the way, first Tuesday of every
David,
month.
what other
You're welcome.
inventions have
I
gone awry?
have 3 inventions that I really need some answers to.
All right.
All right. Well, what's the next
All right.
one?
What's the third
The
question?
next one is Post-it notes.
Ooh, fuck.
Post-it notes.
How the hell did those little things ever become
Well, there was a
an office
guy.
staple?
He was trying to develop super glue.
You know what? I
That's
think
it.
that's
That's it.
right.
Honestly,
I think that's actually right.
That's the answer. Go with it.
All right.
I think
Let's
that's
roll
right.
with that.
that's the answer.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding.
Fuck yeah.
Points for Tom.
Hell yeah.
Spencer Silver was trying to develop an extremely strong adhesive. Instead, he failed and created a weak one.
But it's like perfect.
So that little strip on your Post-it is a fuck up.
Is a failure.
Yeah.
But that's what's great about Post-its. You can stick,
Yeah.
Stick, and take it off.
For only so long.
But I think the real lesson is that even failures can lead to great things.
$1 million
Yeah.
corporation.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Kentucky Commons Radio Hour.
Yes.
All right, that was you knocked that out of the park, Tom. The next one I have is cornflakes, and I'll tell you this is
Oh,
pre
I know.
1900.
I actually know this.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to some weird podcasts, and are you ready for this?
Yeah.
So the dude that invented
Seventh Day
cornflakes,
Adventist.
Kellogg, right? One Kellogg was all right. He's the guy that ended up making cereal as we know it now, but the other Kellogg was super against touching yourself. It's kind of actually why. All right,
That's right.
We're far enough in. Things might get a little weird.
Touching yourself?
No, but like the reason
It's
that
gonna get good.
probably most of the people at this table are circumcised comes from this motherfucker being like, yo, You need to cut your son's dick at least a little bit so they're not jerking off.
He was also super into like eugenics.
Mhm.
And, like,
Yeah. Very, very, very into like eugenics, and it's like, hey, this
I
this
feel
is
like
a problem.
I didn't do my research.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We haven't even
I've been told
scratched
this
the
whole
surface,
story.
The question
also
you brought up.
graham crackers, the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Hey, you need to eat a very bland diet of things. Basically, don't get excited about anything. So if you like salt, nope, that's gonna make you horny. That's gonna make you sin. Chop the tip of the dick off. Women aren't like humans, anyways. In Kellogg's eyes, I'm not saying that.
And
But
he
yeah,
had this like health clinic
Yeah.
called like Wellville. I think it was in like Wisconsin or something, or like somewhere up in the Great Lakes region.
I don't know where it was, but it was for like there's a whole like a lot of foods.
Well, the whole food pyramid was kind of his.
Yeah.
push, too.
It's like
he
eat a
started
bunch
that
of
whole shit.
grains and do
Yep.
it like it's.
There's a good movie called The Road to Wellsville, I think. It's Matthew Broderick. I think Dana Carvey plays his son, and he's like totally against what his dad wants.
Yeah.
So he like keeps trying to jerk off at dinner, and his dad's like, "No!"
That's Troll 2.
Does anyone know how cornflakes are made? That's all. That's all I ask.
So David, did we get it right?
I don't know why they were made.
How
How-
does this
how-
question go that
Yeah,
around?
so you take corn and you squish it and you squish it and you squish it, and it eventually gets, because we use flake maize. We know how cornflakes are made. So, I mean, it's not milled.
It's not
rolled,
milled.
And it gets so thin that it, right?
Stop people from masturbating. Final answer.
I will accept half of that answer. As,
Which half?
The half about the corn.
The corn half got
That
It
part-
makes you not masturbate.
I mean,
we need to
go
know
drink a
the
bunch of
rest of
Busch
the
Light.
story.
Tell me how you're
That's
feeling
the why,
afterwards.
not the how.
after
breaking into this
I eat
Riesling.
cornflakes, I am satisfied.
My parents are
Nothing to it.
My parents
But-
have been asking all night about like, hey, yeah, are you ready? Where can we watch this podcast? And Mom and Dad, I know you're going to see this, and I apologize, but you raised me Catholic, and you know what? Now you're reaping what you sowed. Cheers. Love you, Mom and Dad.
So this happy little accident of cornflakes was they left a pot of boiled wheat out overnight.
And then a motherfucker's like, that's going to make people
Because
not
they were
jerk off.
masturbating.
And
Why do
they-
you think they left
They
it
were
out?
trying to find a diet for the patients at their sanatorium.
Yes.
When they left it out overnight, it dried. And that is what we commonly refer to as cornflakes now.
So, all
So
right.
we were right.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, like, all right, I am under the belief that beer was discovered, not invented. Kind of the same thing, but in the opposite way, right?
I don't disagree.
Good.
There's a really good Stuff You Should Know podcast about the Kellogg's and just all their personalities that you
Yeah.
just described. So
I 1,000%
That's the
didn't
rest of
plan
the
this,
story we'd like to
and
hear
I had
about.
no idea cornflakes had to do with
It's dude,
Literal
graham
dicks.
crackers too. It's super like
Something has
it's
gone awry.
really weird. It's
but
What kind of podcast do you really listen
I
to,
listen
Alex?
Behind the Bastards, and another one that if I keep drinking, I'm sure will come up, and we'll talk about that at some point.
All right.
so yeah.
T-Mart is already over.
Yep. Well, let's get to the next question.
Next question.
Come on.
So the last and final one that I had for you all today, I did not plan it this way, but it does have to do with dicks. Viagra was a happy accident.
I think I know that one. You guys go ahead.
So I'll take any supposed theories on how that was produced.
I think this started in 1967 when they did the
69.
Apollo launch. You know, they got a man on the moon, and he needed to stay awake, and so the best way to do it is stay rock hard the entire time. So I'd say this is back when one of those government funded things. You know, it had nothing to
Provisor.
do. You know, it was just to keep them awake. It was a stimuli that ended up having adverse effect. You know, kind of like meth with the Nazis,
I
but
was
this is
just about-
different. You know, this is to keep
Except
them awake
for space,
and warm. You know, because space is cold.
Mhm. we talk about NASA
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Nazis and
Astronauts.
Mhm.
I believe this was a government funded project to keep Neil Armstrong and
I know
Buzz
what you're
Aldrin.
gonna say.
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say, and act like it was supposed to be a blood pressure medicine or a heart medicine.
That was the cover story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it.
But they invented it back
David,
then.
are you familiar with the term false flag?
You want to see this false flag after I take like 6 Viagra?
what do we got? What's the real
So
answer?
what's the real deal here?
Nailed it again, but the original concept was a treatment for heart disease.
Mhm. Sure.
And when you constrict vascular
All right.
vessels,
Thanks, CNN. We know what's up.
But I'm a big fan of. Have you ever encountered the iceberg? Do you understand the iceberg as a concept of conspiracy?
Like the Titanic one that sank a supposed ship.
I only know because David
I'm just
Satterley has
joking.
explained it to me, but like the 10% of stuff that you know about a topic is above the surface.
Oh
And
yes.
there's like 90%.
Yeah.
that
Iceberg
just
theory,
goes down.
I know.
not physical iceberg. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Man, that wine's getting to me, and I'm like, ooh.
So I think T-Mart is just a little bit below the surface on the iceberg, and this warrants more investigation. And when you're done with your
Thank
little beer project, Awry, whatever it is, and you really want to get serious about investigating Viagra, we'll
Are you
do
familiar
it.
with the iceberg theory?
Yeah.
Let's talk about dick pills.
You think this is a brewery, which is great because that's absolutely what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
definitely not have an ex-Marine that we're close to at least 2 different presidents.
I don't like where this is going. I don't support this at all.
Hey man,
Yeah. This has been great. Louisville Ale Trail's
God bless
out.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah, God bless America.
All right. So
Mola, where are you going?
So actually, that was a great game, David. Thank you so much.
Yeah, David, that was a great game.
David.
I love that.
That's
awesome.
Yeah. That was fucking great.
Yeah,
That was
that's a
fucking
lot of
awesome.
fun.
But
I got to talk about Ninja Turtles.
hell
Yeah.
yeah, man. Well, you also get to talk a little bit about something else because we went through both Tom and T-Mart for their show and tell. We
Oh,
still got to do
yeah.
your show and tell.
Alex.
We're gonna need beers.
Let's do
We're
it.
gonna need sessionable beers for everybody
Okay.
for my show and
How
tell.
about I go
Let's
get
go.
some
Oh
sessionable
wait,
beers?
hold on. Which half of the show and tell?
Whatever half is. But I mean, either one,
You know
man.
what? How about this? I'll do that one, and then we'll double back and then go back down.
You want me to go get the
Okay,
beers?
yeah.
Yeah, if you
Let's
don't mind.
double
Sounds
back
efficient.
and go back down.
Sounds efficient for sure.
This is-
Absolutely.
we operate very well in audio media. Like people definitely understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
and
We all sound great on the radio.
absolutely. So
I'm drinking a sessionable beer, garage beer. Haven't
Yes.
had this yet. If you haven't listened to the podcast last week, where we had Zane on, their national director, he goes deep into garage beer and how they kind of formulated it and where it's at now. And I still a big fan. It's great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They're
Very good
they're
beer.
doing that
Solid.
thing in craft beer that's really hard to do, which is going up against like big, like that person being like, we have to have domestic beer on
Yeah.
tap. They're trying to be perceived as a domestic beer brand.
I feel like
And-
it's
which they
successful
are.
too.
Yeah.
Like that's tough. Like we tried
more
to do that with
domestic than
Retitled. We
Old
as an
Milwaukee.
ATG try to do that with like Retitled and A beer, and it's
tough.
like the one of the more legitimate questions that I've seen.
And,
Yeah,
and
we're all having
as
garage
Tyler,
beer.
as T-Mart is breaking out some garage beer, I'm not sure if this is ironic or unironic, but
I don't. I
The,
don't
the
think he was
name is
aware of-
great for
Yeah.
this beer,
Yeah.
really. Garage beer is a fantastic name.
It's a like I will say at least every brewery I've worked at, there's a brewery beer that is some type of domestic beer or mass produced beer that like that's what's been at ATG. It's High Life. A lot of places it's High Life. PBR is a good one. Hams is a good one. We have found by complete accident we drink a lot of Modelo Especial.
Yeah.
A
Hell
lot.
yeah.
love
We
Modelo.
drank like 3 cases in the past 2 weeks on top of all the other beer and everything else. We've been drinking a lot.
We do like to call them Modelos, though.
Modelos.
We
We're from-
call them
we're from
modellers.
Modellers
Yeah,
sound
after
nice.
Moeller.
Yes, yes.
And that
That's
term
good.
was coined by Lee Northcutt from Scout and Scholar.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Lee
so-
actually, to me, explained this phenomenon the best. And he's like, why do I drink Miller High Life or Coors Banquet or whatever he was into? Like, garage beer is a great example. Like, 'cause when I'm done working and I just want to drink a beer, I just want a beer that I don't have to think of.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good point.
There's actually
Yeah.
so I love the idea of a brewer's beer.
Yeah.
So we actually I'm not trying to talk about Against the Grain, but
Let's go.
I'm 7 years in. I've done
This
a lot
is the
there.
Hey,
second
you know
time
what?
you've brought
Respect
Against
This
the
is
Grain
like
up.
the 4th time.
Respect to the name of
Yeah.
ATG.
But also I'm leaving, and there's part of it like Louisville Pale. Louisville Pale, we actually, T-Mart, myself, Sue Franklin, got to sit down and we got to, from the ground up, design a beer that we wanted. We were talking like for whatever, I don't even remember why, but we needed, they wanted a brand. They wanted something. They're like, what about a pale ale? And they let us kind of like, hey, what do we want to drink?
fuck yeah.
And it was like, all right, we needed to fill, we didn't have a hazy. It's still kind of hazy sometimes, but
me, it walks that borderline because if it's too hazy, it's not sessionable.
It was like Louisville Pale came because we were supposed to brew a hazy, and we didn't want to do it's weird to say traditional New England now, but like a traditional New England, like super fruity, super juicy kind of thing. So we kind of designed.
Was I supposed to grab a bunch of Lou?
No. I'm just talking about when we came up with the recipe and the concept. It was the idea was at the end of the day, we just got done brewing or canning or whatever. This was also like coming out of the pandemic. This is what we wanted to sit down and drink. And it is my favorite beer that we do at Against the Grain. And it's actually, today was supposed to be my last brew at ATG. Mm-hmm. But we're hiring Brian Clark now works there. He's an excellent brewer.
Shout out.
Shout out to Brian. He's doing a great job. And we got there this morning and I'm like in my routine, I'm going to brew this Citra. You know, we do it once a week minimum. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I kind of stood back and I was like, I didn't do anything today.
Fucking last week of high school.
Like last week of senior year. I can say this now because I will not be employed when this comes out. I did not do a single thing at work today. And it was kind of rad. No, that's not true. I brewed coffee.
And I'll say one more thing too. I've talked to Sam Cruz many times about like how much I respect his like ATG as a brand and business, but also him as like as a personnel, as like a people person. And it's like, hey, how do you feel when like, you know, because ATG's had so many people come and go over the years. I was like, hey, how do you feel when people go on and do their things? Like, that makes me so fucking happy. Yeah. I can't even explain it.
Well, I'm glad you bring up Sam because he was really one of the first guys that I got to know in the industry along with Alex when I got involved several years ago with the Kentucky Guild of Brewers. And Sam has been a great support for us along the way. And
honestly,
just
the
been
whole
a great
ATG
dude.
Crew.
Yeah, just been a great, the whole crew. Have just been great and supportive of us along the way, and we really appreciate that.
Also, like T-Mart and I worked there a long time. The amount of beers we're gonna making fun of ATG names and some like
they deserve it too.
Oh my god, it's so it's.
I'm getting them back for Solidarity. I love Solidarity, and when they made fun of it, I was like, "Bravo!"
They fucked up, man. They taught us, and we're gonna do it better.
So what it sounds like is that you brought garage beer to share.
Yeah, we did. We brought garage beer to share. And this is my show and tell.
Yeah, talk us through it.
You guys want to play a game? Now I'm getting weird. And I'm gonna say, you elect to play this completely on your own, and there's no pressure. But once you start playing, you play indefinitely.
Go.
You cannot quit.
So I'm ordering the first beer to the guy to the right. And then the guy on the left gets ordered the next.
Hell yeah.
So I started playing a game when I started homebrewing in college with Mike Bodner, who took me to my first and many Dark Lord days. The guy that actually taught me how to brew. And we worked at that. So there's a pizza place in Bloomington, Indiana called Mother Bears. If you ever go to Bloomington, I worked there for 4 years. I don't have a single college friend that I had class with or that, well, I've roomed with, but that's different. Cause those are like buddies from back here. All of my friends are from Mother Bears. Like that's, there was the GM and he's now an owner, like him and his wife who were all friends and at my wedding came through a couple of years ago. They were like, hey, like, what's up? You want to go somewhere? I was like, yeah, I'm a brewer at Against the Grain. Let's go get beers. And they were like, you said you were going to do this. You actually did. That's fucking awesome. And now I can actually go back and the wild hair logo that I showed you earlier, one of my friends at Mother Bears designed that logo for us because she graduated and was like, I think I want to be a graphic designer. I was like, cool. I want to open a brewery. You want to do some artwork? We actually, before we found Jimmy, our artist who we have and is fantastic, we reached out to Jess Newland and was like, hey, you want to do some brand work? She's like, I don't do that. I do murals. If you're interested in that, I live in Portland and I'll come in. But I digress. Anyways, Mike Bodner taught me this game called Buffalo.
Okay.
And I would like to invite you all to play Buffalo. Now, the rules of Buffalo are very simple. Once you're in the game, you're in forever. To get into the game, you got to chug a beer to get in. After you are in, if anybody else who plays the game addresses you as Buffalo while you are holding any alcohol in your right hand that is open. Can of beer, bottle of wine, fifth of bourbon. And you say, hey, Buffalo, you got to finish what you're drinking.
Okay.
If somebody calls, I'm like, hey, Satterley, Buffalo. And I fucked up. It's in his left hand. False Buffalo. I got to finish my drink. Brian Labor lives in Washington State. We still text each other, Buffalo.
Okay.
It is a gentleman's game or a gentle person's game. Is that a
Gentle person is correct. Yeah.
It's a gentle person's game. It is a game of honor. Once you're in forever.
Okay.
So I would invite, if you would like, T-Mart and I already play. We'll chug in. Left hand, no problem. Right hand. And for any right-handed people, it sucks so
I'm
hard
left-handed.
for a while.
I think I'm fine.
Brian Labor's left-handed. Left-handed people. It's you want to torture some people? You want to torture people at this table?
All right. Well, I'll try to be weird.
Wait, so is this like a game for life or?
This is a game for
Yeah.
life.
For life.
Yes.
Also,
You're
always
Are we
Never
chugging all
quit.
this?
I just lost the game.
Wow. Okay. I didn't want to. I'm already in. So, well, that's fine.
Yeah, do
You
what you can. Yeah. Yeah, gentleman's game.
Yeah.
Um,
So if we're
I've
ever out
traded-
at Hawk's Corner,
Good thing
or
that's sessionable.
Shop Bar,
There's always
or
a
Bear
fun,
Bar,
like,
or
spirit
anywhere
of, like,
else.
I like
Call
a
Buffalo,
drinking
you
game
gotta
that
stick
does
to it.
not require everybody to just keep drinking. It's like ongoing.
Yes.
So it's like it's more like a psychology
it's
game.
yeah, are you familiar with rounds? You go,
Where
I,
everybody,
I
like, makes a
love
rule
that
or
idea of
some
like
shit. Yeah.
you're in England, you go out with your boys, you go out for rounds. So we go out for rounds. Satterley's got the first round. We all drink. Then Muller's got the next. None of us leave till all of us have bought a round for the group we're with.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah.
Sounds expensive.
Indeed.
But
That's
fake.
like that drinking game we used to do was expensive.
Yeah.
I do that by myself all the time.
Rounds?
Hey, Muller, are you buying Muller another round? Yeah, you are.
I guess it is my turn. Absolutely.
My eyes are feeling warm.
Okay. So
I'm getting real close to the mic.
Cool.
you did your first show and tell.
Yeah, I appreciate
Oh.
that.
Oh yeah, I guess. And now we're gonna double back.
Tyler's got another one for us.
No,
We
not
all
at
got
all.
another one.
All right.
But let's switch
Maybe.
away. Well, we had wine. We just chugged a beer. We'll stick with beer. Do you guys know what Amburana is?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
Brazilian wood that tastes like cinnamon.
Yeah. When Amburana barrels came to the States, there was one brewery in the U.S. that got barrels. Against the Grain got 2 barrels.
Yep.
I was the one that received and steamed and treated those barrels and filled them for the first time with Bo and Luke. And then a few months later with 70K. And that's what Pete Fingerson, myself, T-Mart, Sue, I'm going to forget people. I'll come back to this, but like a group effort. We made this beer and we won a gold medal. And
I remember this.
Was it a
regular
double gold or?
it was so.
We don't play those
I
games.
knew that was coming.
At GAVF.
Yeah,
Was it really a second or third place?
No, it was first.
It was so gold, so gold.
Jeez.
There's only a few bottles left.
Yeah.
And we actually were looking, it was like, oh, I think I got a bottle. And I had a bottle that's actually been sitting cold. It's been in my fridge since we made it. I have no idea how this is going to taste. But as far as I'm concerned, this is after we won gold with this beer, everybody was like, oh, Amburana. Like we were serving this beer before we got medaled. And people were like, oh, that's neat. Cinnamon, some nutmeg, some kind of clove. I'm like, yeah, that's really nice. And then we won. And people were like, what are you putting in this? It's like, it's just a barrel. Then these, if nobody's ever seen Amburana barrels, they, at least the ones that we got, are way over constructed. They're beautiful. The bands are stainless. It was, I don't know, they're amazing.
It had to be handcrafted specifically because it's not something that you can just get.
Yeah. And
So these were hand coopered
yes, and
originally
they're
in Brazil, right?
correct, from Brazil. So
Yeah.
we actually, I'm gonna say it, and if I can't say this, and I'm like, hey, if I'll contact you guys and be like, cut that out because one of my kids. The Owen Martin, who is the head distiller or master distiller, at Angel's Envy, they have some stuff going in said barrels. And about 2 weeks ago, he hit me up and was like, "You want some Amburana barrels?" Yeah, yes, I do.
So I know that's the thing that people really enjoy about those barrels is you can get multiple uses out of them. Like they last forever, which is
they're really. It was surreal steaming. Like I've never steamed a barrel. I worked at BBC. Since I've been professionally brewing, I've been making barrel aged beers. Like from the first week that I started brewing, we had Four Roses barrels at BBC that we got that was always in rotation. Go to Against the Grain. I've seen a lot of barrels. I have hard opinions on barrels that are probably, I don't know. I have a lot of hard opinions on barrels. I think wood is fantastic. I think it's amazing. I love, we've sold barrels to other breweries, we being Against the Grain, but there's this idea that good bourbon or good whiskey out of a barrel means a good barrel, and it absolutely does not. I've had what would be quote unquote prestigious barrels that are fine. I've had great, the bourbon that came out of this is fucking amazing, and the barrels are dog shit. Honestly, my favorite barrels are like Old Foe barrels. Yeah, they're always turning. They're always wet. They're consistent. You know what you're getting. Even there's variations in barrels, and like I've listened to the podcast, and you all have had people on. They talk about barrels, and barrels absolutely taste different depending on where they're at.
There's a reason that there's an art to it too, and there's a reason that you can't just mass produce. There's a reason that there's a cooperage as like an art. Yeah. And that's so much is important in how they put it together, but so much is important. Like so much is derived from the wood and where it comes from. And today we think about beer as something that is brewed in stainless steel and moves through like non PVA free lines and is like kind of a not sterile because it's fermented, but it's kind of like a non-impacted or stored product. But historically, beer and the barrel, there was no way to separate those things. And so that was part of the process. Kentucky Common is a great example of that. People argue about what did it taste like. Probably depends on what kind of barrel it sat in, like while you were waiting to drink it or whatever. So I don't know. I think bringing barrel culture back, which is something we've talked about a lot. We had like our barrel cultural.
I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't think it's bringing barrel culture back. Yeah. I don't think barrel culture has gone. In fact, I think barrel culture has become a thing, especially with there's more prominent craft distilleries around more than ever. I think for beer specifically, we need to learn how to use our barrels in a better way, in a more like creative way, and I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what that is, but we have access to arguably the greatest bourbon barrels. It's like
the Napa Valley of wood.
And we as brewers, and I'll put look, I'm not calling anybody out, but look, this is where we're at. We take the barrels that we get for granted and we stick a stout in them, and we're like, cool, that was really great. We stick high ABV because that's how, you don't want to put shit. Yeah. But there's a lot more when you take the barrel and it's not just a barrel. Oak alternatives, the people that the coopers, we were talking about the coopers are far more important than they're ever given credit. Mm-hmm. Everybody dances around and teases of like, oh yeah, the cooper, at least in my opinion, is far more important than the distiller.
I agree.
The distiller is making juice, but the barrel it goes into, how it's treated after that, what the species is, how it's toasted, how it's seasoned, how it's charred, if it's charred. That all of this goes into far. There's way more happening there than the actual product that's being pumped in.
And a lot of the
I don't want to say most of the time. In some mass-produced things,
I would say they're equal parts.
That's fair. That's fair.
Only because there's so much variation. But there's a brewery around town here that does neutral oak aged sours. And when we had a discussion with them, they basically said that the barrel was...
Sounds like a freaking hipster band.
Neutral Oak Hotel.
Yeah. Neutral.
But that band got brought up.
Their idea was that the barrel was a vessel, and they weren't looking to impart too much. But they understood what the vessel could do, and they would inoculate it on their own.
I think that's a different thinking. That is awesome. And when we're talking about sour beer... I think we need to, when we talk about sour beer, we need to talk about wood in a different way. When we're talking about barrel aged beer, it's in a different way because I totally agree with that sentiment.
Speaking of talking about barrel-aged beer, I just sipped this.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
we
You
should
guys
try
fucking
this
nailed
because this
one.
is smelling and
So
and
it does
looking
all
really
the things
good.
you guys were just talking about.
Cheers
the beer
on
is
this one.
solid.
Cheers.
It's old.
And
It's not oxidized.
Jeez.
I'm dedicating this to because had Pete Fingerson stayed in this industry 10 years at the same time, maybe a week ago.
Oh,
I don't think he gets podcasts
cheers
where
to-
he is.
Oh, I will hand deliver this to the house
On
that I
like an
have it
MP3
into.
drive.
Yeah.
Plugged into his
Yeah,
trailer.
CD-ROM.
Hey, T-Mart.
Yes.
Buffalo, buddy.
Oh, that was
I was
good.
trying-
that was
bravo.
really
See,
good.
I was trying to.
Look,
do
Cheers
that.
to that. This is
with
to Pete.
this beer
Cheers.
to
Thank
Pete.
you.
Oh, you don't have to.
No,
wow.
yes, he has to.
Yes, he does.
Yes,
It's
he
called
has to.
Never played Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why are you doing that?
He
We
just
said it's a
did it.
gentleman's
Yeah,
game.
he felt bad for me, which
That's
is
a
very
That's not
gentlemanly
a
sweet.
move.
gentleman's game. That is pity.
No,
Oh,
that's camaraderie, sir. That's camaraderie.
Tomato.
So
Also,
anyway,
good
this
job,
beer is
Michael. I
fucking
give you that one.
good.
That was
Hey,
good.
This
there's
was
also there's
tasty.
more here. if you
Deep
guys
dark
want.
chocolate.
No, that's actually holding up really well.
and the
So
wood
I mean,
still shines.
I was
on it.
worried that
This is also blended way down.
yeah.
That is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
It really is. That's
It's
a
as
tasty
good
one.
as I remember having
Yeah.
it the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Which is unreasonable for how old this beer is.
Oh yeah, this
and
beer is
to
at
be
least
perfectly
5 years
honest,
old.
tasty.
We found this bottle, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is gonna be awesome." And then as today has gone, I'm like,
Oh yeah,
"I hope
worried.
this is still good." I hope
No,
this is
it's
still
good. It holds up.
And I'm very 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 pleased. This is
I know I have one or two of them at the house, so
Yeah.
I don't. If this is still what it is good. My
If
favorite
you've stored it properly.
Or
what's
not, maybe-
proper?
yeah.
I mean, this has stayed cold the entire time.
That is so
I'll
tasty.
stored in the back of a fridge,
also-
lost for 5 years.
and I'm also and
It was
I've
on a
heard this-
journey. Okay.
I've heard this on this podcast, and I think we all agree: don't cellar your beer. Like
Drink
there's some beer that is fine to cellar.
Oh, I got cellaring stories.
Seller.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
normally
Selling
sell
nightmares.
mine for a lot of
Sell
money.
it.
Yeah, that's
No, sell your beer.
Yeah, because like
yeah.
I
Did you
didn't
say
make
secondary
it. I
market?
have nothing to do with it, but I did like travel halfway across the country, so now it's very valuable to me.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
And this
Mhm.
bottle should cover my hotels and my expenses
At-
and everything.
At
And
least.
that's your fault for buying it. Uh-huh.
You're like the
Oh, I
Yankee
understand.
trader of like, yeah.
What-
just
Did you say
telling-
Yankee Trader?
Yeah, David's like the Yankee trader of like,
Mm.
we're entering into a new mercantile system as the U.S. dollar collapses.
Oh, I thought
The
you called me
craft
as
beer bottle
Jefferson
economy.
Davis as a trader.
Oh no.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Like,
So we're
The new
we're literal
economy is
carpetbaggers.
Underberg hats
So-
and like 5-year-old
We are
craft beer.
carpetbaggers.
We're northern guys. They're looking to make a buck down south. Hey, shit goes awry. We own it.
Shit
It's
goes
all right.
around. Maybe we change the name. Carpetbaggers
Again.
Brewery.
Oh, shut up.
call those 19 partners back. We want to have a meeting.
I can't even remember all of them. One guy still has my like OG homebrew shit. My dad was in here helping us get kitchen stuff going. He was like, "Do you still have that?" I was like, "I loaned it to Pat Dennison, and he moved to Indianapolis."
Hey, Pat,
That's how,
give
that's
it
how
back.
it carries on.
Yeah, he reached out and congratulated us.
Yeah, he
So,
Pay it
Nice.
forward.
Pat, I expect that you'll see this, and I would very much like my banjo burner and my.
I got a banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't want, I
sounds
want
sexual.
my banjo
Hey,
burner.
Alex, to your point though about
Yeah,
cellaring
sorry.
beer, what I've enjoyed about this podcast is just it's an opportunity for me to bring in beer that I'm not drinking at home.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that's been great just to have this as a platform for that. So you've brought in some delicious Amburana 70K. We played Buffalo. I don't know if this-
playing Buffalo.
we will always play Buffalo until
Yeah,
the day we
you're
die.
stuck.
Apparently, it's like the fucking tag game movie. That's where we're at right now. I don't know if this is part of like the intention, but the other thing that you all kind of brought as a show and tell, we haven't really talked about too much is like all this fucking food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so
We
much
made
food
dinner.
that you all were like
We didn't
making.
even eat the gumbo.
I know.
I'm
We got to
eating the
get in
gumbo.
there.
Well, yeah, it's
We're
so
going to have
good.
gumbo.
It's pretty good.
and,
It's warm.
and I just want to give you all props because like when we first came in, and well, even yesterday you texted us like any food restrictions. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I love this. And you were in here like sweating and just like making this food for us. What do we got?
So this, and you guys interject at any point, but
Sure.
I would say for like for the purpose of this,
John's on it. Don't worry.
talk us through what people can
For
experience,
sure, yeah.
beer versus food, and how it all comes together when they
I
come
love
to a ride.
food. In a past life before I was a brewer, I worked in kitchens. T-Mart and I met in a restaurant. Tom loves to cook. Like we this has been a thing. I had a teacher in high school that had this sentiment of sharing a meal with somebody is special. You don't ask somebody that you don't care about to sit down and
eat with you.
Mhm.
Like it's a very personal thing. Every single human being on this planet has to eat.
Yeah.
I view beer and wine and spirits similarly. We don't all have to drink, but we all do. I don't ask most of the time. I don't ask people that I don't care for to go get a beer. If this were any one of our actual homes, this is what we'd be doing. We would make some food. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna drink some beer. We're gonna bullshit. And this has always been a big part from when T-Mart and I met, when we started brewing, when Tom came in. It's always been a thing of it's hospitality of, hey, you guys come sit down. We want to make sure you're hungry. We got food.
We want to make it a place that you feel good and comfortable coming into, and we don't want to be food centric. We want to be beer centric. You come in and drink a beer, but you know what? We got some good food to go along with it.
But
And it's a place where you feel at home and can hang out and chat and bullshit with your friends.
yeah,
I
it's
can attest to that.
yeah.
Right
As we
now.
So
Yeah.
the food that we did tonight, bought some bread from Blue Dog Cafe. Excellent. Tom and I both make sourdough. And actually independently both were like, we should make some bread. We should make some bread. And then I bought these loaves. I bought these this morning. I was like, I'm going to go pick them up. And I got them. I cut into them. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't make bread. I'm so glad I bought these loaves.
Blue Dog's so
They're
good.
so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
And then, so we've talked about doing fried chicken. So I had leftover chicken. So I fried it up because I've got some chicken and sausage gumbo. I know we're in Kentucky. Burgoo's the thing. Burgoo's kind of trash.
Ooh,
Yeah.
hot take.
Hot take.
Ooh,
You know why?
hot
Here's
take.
why.
Not a hot take.
Oh,
You,
God.
you know
I
the
agree.
difference.
I'm gonna get some
You know the
Amburana on
difference
that
between Burgoo
No.
and gumbo.
My
is a
family's from
roux.
Eastern Kentucky. Do you want me to tell you the
But you
difference?
know what? Gumbo
Burgoo
is
is made
so
from shit you
good.
found on your drive home
Yeah, but gumbo can be
on the
that
side
too.
of the road.
I think it's there's. I have
Burgoo
a lot
involves
of.
roadkill.
Yes, exactly. That's what I
Eastern
think of when I
Kentucky.
think of Burgoo. It's roadkill.
But there's.
That's how it always was in my
like
family.
peasant
Right.
food that is the best food. The shit that you're left with, the scraps, when everything goes awry, and I promise we'll stop.
Turn it into something
Not
good.
tonight, but yeah. But you turn it into something like everything that we know of that is now like fine dining started with roots of being the shit that no one else would eat.
That's true.
I love Cajun
Mint
and Creole
juleps.
cooking. Yeah.
Here we are around Derby time.
And I don't honestly. My big hang up with Burgoo is literally a roux. I like making roux. It's it takes just it doesn't. They're easy, but everybody that makes one wants to act like they're tough, and you can burn them. They're easy to burn, but gumbo has been a thing that I really, 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 really like to make, and I've made it my own. I have the things that I do. I like making soups and stews in general, and gumbo is the one where I'm like, I would go. I'm not saying I would win, but I'll go toe to toe with.
It's pretty damn tasty. I will
Most
say
people,
that.
yeah, and it can be better. And there's also there's a split of like I've got chicken thighs. Tom picked up some smoked andouille from a butcher shop,
Taylor's
and then
Taylor's Custom Meats in New Albany.
I'm taking
Shout out
that
to those
and
guys.
fresh okra, and I'm taking frozen corn and some bacon grease and some green beans, and it's kind of a. Sorry, should we stop?
No, we're
All right.
good. Finish it
Subtle.
up.
Subtle.
But no,
going.
I mean, but yeah, that's the we had this idea. We were talking about show and tell. You guys, posited, hey, could we do it here? And it just kind of, at least for me, and I honestly, I think for all of us, I don't want to speak for you guys, but you come over to the house. We want to feed you.
We made sauce. We
Yeah,
made some
get back to the
chicken
food.
that we're gonna
Oh,
try
yeah.
to do
Yeah.
here at the restaurant
So
brewery.
explain this blue cheese.
Oh, so I wanted to get a cheese. What's this called?
Stilton.
Stilton. I always want to say Stinton. You guys ever heard of?
It's a
There's this
very
guy
pungent
that was a
blue
chef.
cheese.
He's written a couple of books. I think he passed a few years ago. Anthony Bourdain.
Heard of him?
I have his cookbook, and his dessert chapter is a 2-page spread about Stilton cheese.
Stilton.
Stilton cheese. See, I just did it. Stilton cheese. I went to go buy some Caveman Blue from Kroger. It's a Murray cheese I really like, and this was actually on sale, and I was like, "Oh, this is so much more appropriate. This is not only is it
That's really
cheaper,
good.
is a better cheese, and it's
That's really good.
the Anthony Bourdain's idea of food, drink. He had real dog shit ideas about beer, but everything else was kind of all right. So yeah, I picked that cheese, and honestly, I think that's all you need for dessert.
Yeah.
A little bit of that.
So, all right, go
Anyone
through
that
the
listens
sauces.
to this podcast knows we're a huge fan of cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a
Clearly.
recurring theme at this
Yeah.
point.
Go through the sauces real quick.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
So, that'll be the last of the food.
So the sauces that we made, we have a Jamaican jerk. Honestly, most of these recipes are stolen or just like shamelessly, hey, they came out of a bottle. No problem with that. The Jamaican jerk is a recipe that I got at Mother Bear's. If you go get their jerk wings, it's doctored up a little bit. I like it a little spicier. It's some Jamaican jerk or like sauce that you can buy. A little bit of Thai chili. It's excellent. At least from what I'm looking at, we have a buffalo ranch. Did any of you all eat at Rocky's?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I did.
Cool.
You remember the garlic Parmesan ranch?
Fuck yeah.
Sure.
I got that recipe.
Actually, can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
Michael, I really think we met at Rocky's. I know we've talked about this. I swear I've served you. I swear.
What? So no, hold on.
Are you the 10% tipping motherfucker?
No.
No, I would have been. So here's why I say that why that probably didn't happen is that if that was the case, you would have had to have also met my family because I've never just like been there by myself or like even with friends. I always went there with family.
I feel like I met you at the outside bar because I was the outside bartender a lot.
No, I didn't. I never drank at Rocky's.
No?
I don't think they were open by the time I was 21.
Damn.
Maybe they were. I don't know.
Right.
No, we met at outside of the winery that you were talking about.
River City?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, yeah, I know.
So careful to not say it. Like,
Well, it's
that
a
one-
non-existent company. And what it's called now doesn't matter because the company shouldn't be.
Yeah, so
existing,
I was there. I was there with some person I was just meeting up for a drink for the first time ever.
Were you on a date?
Sure.
Oh, God.
And I don't even know who this person. Like honestly, I'm sorry, I just don't remember you. But she also brought a friend, and I just remember that you were there hanging out with us, and for whatever maybe you had just gotten off work,
Yeah.
and then. Then you invited us all to your apartment in the Highlands,
Hell
I see.
yes.
where
That's definitely a me thing.
Was Brandon still there? Was
Yeah.
Brandon there?
Hell yeah.
Come on, everybody, let's go to my
Yeah.
and that's when I found out that you were also like a home brewer, or at least like you had a kegerator in your apartment. And
Did I have beer on
We
tap?
still have
Yeah.
that kegerator.
Was it Hop Slam?
I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
that was the last beer I had on
You got to
tap.
tell that story too. You got to tell the
Oh.
Hop Slam cake story.
I'll do it another time. But yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time we met, and then like
You
I
came
didn't
to my
see you
house?
for years after that either.
All right. Well, perfect.
nice.
Yeah, it was like the apartment complex
That's
right off Eastern
awesome.
Parkway.
Yeah. I loved that apartment. Yeah, wild. I invited you back.
That makes absolute sense. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Well, most likely I was trying to hit on Michael's friend's friend. So
Yeah, I think that's
right.
probably what's going on.
or
And,
Michael. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, it's who knows. It was
He
was
said he
kind
liked
of
beer, and
frowned
I said
upon
I
back
got a
then.
kegerator with Hop Slam.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Do you know how many?
Hop Slam. Like, I got a keg that's 2.5 years
Yeah.
old. I've been holding on to it.
Well,
So,
fellas,
yeah, I was gonna say, Tom, you poured something else for us here.
I've got one other little drink for us here.
Is this Pálinka?
This is Pálinka, and this is a very proud Hungarian drink. And,
Smells like butter.
and most
Oh no.
businesses
wine.
or
That's what I was gonna say.
people
Yeah.
in Hungary, they'll make this at home. It's
like Hungarian moonshine.
It really is like moonshine in Hungary. So it's a fruited liquor.
It's 100 proof, correct?
No, I don't know what the proof
no
is.
way.
I thought it was 50%
I
alcohol.
can't really read the
Isn't it-
Hungarian.
It smells like really light, like
it's got-
peachy, kind of like
Smells like diacetyl to me.
It's
white grape.
yeah.
Smells like fucking
So
water. And I hate it.
So-
Thanks for
There's a
putting
lot
that
of
out
that
there.
in
Hey
it, too,
man,
I'm not
I'm
gonna
yeah,
lie.
like that's
So the thing I like most about this Hungarian drink was they taught me how to say cheers in Hungary.
yeah.
Oh, this is fun.
We say this a
So-
lot.
Yeah. So cheers in Hungary is Igriza Gadera.
A glaze again there.
It's one of the hardest languages to learn from what I've understood. But Igriza Gadera. Yeah.
And all the Hungarians right now are like, you motherfuckers.
I like Pálinka. We've drank a lot with Tom.
I like that.
It's
Yeah, I like
weird,
it.
Isn't that
right?
different?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't. It smells like diacetyl.
It's got
It's
and,
got a-
and it's warm. It maybe it is homebrew, but
Yeah.
Did
but
this
it doesn't
bottle have a
taste.
fruit in the bottom?
It did have a fruit. It's
Okay.
got a piece
Yeah,
of
so
plum in the bottom.
It seems like every bottle has a little piece of fruit in the bottom, kind of like the worm, the mezcal.
Yeah.
And we've eaten the fruit.
Secret
It
in your
is
chest.
awful.
it's whoosh. It's like eating the worm out of
That's
the
a
mezcal.
Hungarian
not
hug.
bad at all.
That's a Hungarian hug.
Try to get that little piece of plum out and eat that. Chew on
Good
that
luck
for a
getting it
minute.
out. We
Let's
spent
do
more
that.
time
Let's do
trying
that
to get
all
it out.
fair. Yeah.
Put me on the Patreon.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that
Subscribe and if you want to see David Satterley eat this fruit, get on the Patreon. And you know what? It starts at $3, $6. What's $6 a month? It's not much.
it's a beer.
I'm unemployed. Not that much. Not that much.
We still have so much food and so much drink to enjoy still.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to actually kind of get to that after this podcast. So to that point, thank you all so much for coming on. And inviting us into your space. As you said, like you invited us into your home. You're serving us all this delicious food and drink. Just with Awry, we're filming early May right now.
Mm-hmm.
When can I come in here and order a beer?
Talk to our lawyers.
I mean,
Our
that's
expensive
going to be
lawyers.
contingent on
Yeah.
TTB licensing.
We're
I mean,
applied.
yeah.
The minute everything drops,
As soon as
We're ready to
everything
brew.
drops, we will be
Did you
rocking
guys
and
get the
rolling
hardship
on,
done? Like
on
you
Yeah.
got
brewing.
floor drain.
Sean did everything
Like
for
each-
us.
Yeah.
We walked in, we painted, we moved some shit around,
clean some stuff.
and
that
that's
was
about it.
Yeah.
Like it's really, I mean, at this point, we're decorating.
Yeah.
And the minute that the governments all say, yeah, all right, you can do that, then
We'll start
we're ready to roll.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah, we're excited about it. We really are.
So-
so we'll say, that didn't answer your question.
Exactly.
End of June,
Exactly,
early
exactly.
July is what
Shut
we're
up.
looking at now.
Anywhere
Yeah.
between like tomorrow and September is probably safe.
Probably a safe
Okay.
bet there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not
Awry,
even going to
coming
announce.
this
We're just going to
fall.
open, and then we're going to make a post about how like, wow, nobody showed up. Nobody.
Yeah.
We
I was
really
saying-
hope people will show up. And
Yeah.
once
Well,
we open the doors and
We'll
turn the
show
sign on,
We're gonna have a
hoping
Louisville Ale
people
Trail
show
under
up.
the
Yeah.
Awry Brewing, so don't worry about it.
We
Oh,
actually
yeah.
we inherited an Ale Trail 10.
We did.
And
And
I
it's
was
displayed
actually-
Oh,
already.
you have to give
Oh.
that back.
No, we actually already asked, and we were told we could keep it.
All right, fine.
Let's talk about this though, real quick.
Yeah.
Alex and I talked about this. One of our team building exercises that the three of us are going to do soon.
Oh,
And we haven't even told
yeah.
Tom about this, so this is
We're
a
about to
surprise
make
for him
this
too.
public.
We're going to do the Ale Trail in a day and try and get the prize.
I don't
Send us
endorse
an
this
email.
just
No,
for
it's
my
fine. You don't
responsibility
have to.
standpoint, but
We understand
We'll
as-
have Ubers.
Yes.
We'll have cars.
Yes.
We're not going to drive. We're not
No,
going to
no,
do
yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Well, we have licensing to
Text
worry
me
about,
now.
so
I'm
we
sure
can't be
that
drinking
it
and
will
driving.
be
Did you hear
filmed.
that?
It's 12
John
breweries.
just said he'd drive us the whole way.
And
Oh,
vlog it.
sweet.
Yeah.
well,
How many breweries is it?
We got to
Like
hit 12.
fucking 30.
We got to hit
Wait,
12.
you guys open.
Oh, you
11.
only got to
Hey,
hit
man.
12?
11. We already have the Chimera stamp, so can't we just get that in
No,
there?
we can do that,
You know, just little Chimera
That's how
stamp.
it
Boof.
works. No more 10 tackers.
See.
Yeah.
There's 27 getting it done in a day.
Wait. I thought you had to get 12 to get the prize.
Well, there's two prizes.
We're doing
Oh
them
shit!
all. I will
Well, we're
drive
gonna
you,
get
and
first
I'm gonna
prize.
drive
We're only gonna do half.
Can I tell you
27
a
is too
story?
much.
I'm
Let's
in.
be real.
There was a bar in Bloomington called Yogi's. Closed,
Oh,
reopened.
Jesus.
This sounds like a really long story.
It's not
We're
that
like
It's gonna
wrapping
start-
it up.
yeah.
I thought this
You
was
think
the end of the
you're wrapping
podcast.
Oh,
It
it's-
was, and I'm making it longer. I said at the beginning of this, I said we're going to put Joe Rogan to shame. We're going 6 hours.
Oh God! All
It's
right.
10:30.
All right,
Let's
listen,
finish this.
guys. It's all about the
Let's not.
fuck.
we started at
frogs.
like 9.
Holy shit! It's 10:30 p.m. right now.
Jesus, yo.
We're normally done at 8:30.
All right,
And
all
we're not
right.
even open yet.
Let's,
Here's what I would say.
let's
in
finish this
ancient
up.
Greek
Yeah.
culture, humans domesticated yeast domesticated humans. Where did alcohol come from? Who knows? But the idea of hospitality and alcohol and good food and good company goes hand in hand. And nothing ever goes to plan. And that's part of that as well. All those things, to me, come together here.
The best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. Real fast. Other than like the opening date, obviously, can you each go through, starting with Tom, just something that you'd like to plug, something going on in life or in business right now?
I mean, this is the main thing going on in my life right now. You know, I'm not quitting my day job by any means, but this is a big part of what I got going on at the moment, and I'm excited to have it going on, and excited to have people in the community come and taste our wares.
Absolutely, T-Mart.
I mean, I'm still working I'm working a normal job.
You can be
place.
fun stuff too.
don't plug your
usually-
dog.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
like
Okay.
something,
So
or
honestly,
like-
the only thing I want to leave you all with a note is a question. What's your go-to karaoke song?
This is not how an interview works.
Fine. You don't have to answer
Say
that.
Brandy.
You're gonna answer this
You're a
question when we get
fine
off
the podcast
girl.
now.
What a good
No, at the same time, I
wife
have nothing
you would
else
be.
to say other than come check us out. We're gonna be interesting and different, and hopefully a nice place to hang out. Hope you like my beer.
Alex.
Alex has 3 interview questions saved up for.
Oh, I have so many more.
No.
We'll do that off mic. But I want to plug the 1990 New Line Cinema Classic, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Feldman.
David, what do you got?
I'm gonna stick with my tried and true vitamin D. Get that shit in you. It's
Take
gonna
the
help
D,
a lot.
Get the sun.
this shit in.
Yeah.
Spay and neuter
Get
your
it in you.
pets, please.
There's like some unofficial regulatory limit on how much you're supposed to take, but like I would do 3 times that just to make yourself
pee it
Be
out.
on the safe side.
feel good. You
Just pee it
know,
The sun's
work
out for
better.
12 hours a day. Enjoy it all.
We went through the steps of like how to accidentally make a product, and like if I accidentally turn into a giant ball of heat and molten plasma in the sun,
Okay.
then I will be the vitamin D for everyone else.
Ding, ding, ding.
You're our microwave.
John, what do you got?
Yeah.
I will just plug dogs. I've had issues with my retinas, which is why I'm wearing sunglasses, and I've been like sleeping on the couch to not interrupt Courtney during her snoozing. When you're just on the couch, not feeling great, your little dogs, they'll just lay with you. They're your buds.
Yeah, Phoebe.
Dogs are good, man. Dogs are fun.
She's-
Shout out
she's
Frankie.
hiding.
Shout out Henry.
Dogs are good.
That's it.
Dogs are
Where
great.
my dogs
Right
at?
on.
On my end, I'm late to the Succession game. HBO Sunday nights, perfect.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's
Hell yeah.
it's ending right now. I think there are only like a couple episodes left in season 4. I just started season 2. Fantastic. I don't know why I waited 4 years. Go watch it.
Would that be considered Buffalo, or is that a double-handed fist?
Let's
That's
go.
Buffalo.
We're gonna end
Depends
this
on if you
podcast
say it or
with
not.
Buffalo. John's about to buffalo some hard seltzer from
Quick limit.
Pink
ASTRA.
Lemonade. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.